Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
Hey y'all, welcome, and happy Monday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show where you basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news and hot topics. So if that is a show for you, definitely tune in because we got a lot of tea to spill today. So, some of the topics we're gonna be talking about on this show, we're gonna talk about this. We got some horror movie news. We're gonna talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot. We found our Pamela Voorhees for the Friday the 13th prequel series. We got to talk about Snow White's box office is now looking cute, which we kind of knew was gonna happen, but we'll break that down. Plus, Beyonce's father is going in and letting have on Koonye West and what he had to say about his grandkids. Also, Beyonce and Jay-Z are discussing taking legal action against Koonye. Tina Knowles, we got some good news for her because she's being honored as Mother of the Year of the 2025 Billboard Women in Music. Kandi Burruss is clapping back at Miss Tamar because Tamar had put out some video that was like 3 years old, and then Tamar clapped back. It's a back and forth situation. But I'm going to tell you, at the end of the day, Kandi is winning, and I'm going to tell you why when we get to that topic. Plus, Tamar's out here talking about how she's taking PrEP. And people are gagging over it. I don't know why, but we'll break that down. For Lopez is ready, single and ready to mingle. She walking Panub. And possibly she's so much she done with celebrity menses. She looking for her an average Joe. So we're gonna talk about that. Plus, Katy Perry is like another day, another Katy Perry story. She's struggling to sell them damn tickets. Now they talking about she reportedly may cancel some Lifetime tour dates because of the ticket sales are not doing what needs to be done. Plus, we have an update on who will be joining Heidi Klum on this reboot. Well, I guess it is reboot. She's coming back because I wasn't watching when she wasn't there. But this reboot of Project Runway, we have our judges and we have our mentor, the person that was doing the Tim Gunn when Tim Gunn and Heidi left the show. So we're going to talk about it. And I'm actually here for the judges. And I kind of knew that they were going to probably bring some of these people on, but we'll break it down when we get to that topic. Plus, speaking of breaking down, we got to break down this recap of RuPaul's Drag Race, where they had the charisma, uniqueness, and urban talent monologue. Plus, Susie Toot is saying that when they were out doing promo shoot in Vegas, they were hate crime. So we got to talk about that. Plus, after she said she was done doing drag, there's a certain Drag Race girl who was I think she was Miss Congeniality. She's talking about she coming back to do drag again. So we'll break that down. Plus a whole lot more. There was other topics that I was thinking about adding to the show, but it was way too much going on that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just roll some of those topics over tomorrow, because the one I wanted to do and I totally forgot. I'm like, damn, but I was like, I'll save it. The Shawn Mendes Bad Bunny thing. And plus, there's rumors going around that I'm going to have to get out in these streets and fight Jennifer Aniston, because apparently there's rumors swirling that she's messing with my man being Pedro Pascal. And it's like, girl, if we got to get out in these streets and tussle, we going to have to tussle, because one thing we're not going to do is be out here messing with me. Look, I even had to laugh and say that I couldn't even say that with a straight face, but y'all know how I love me some Pedro Pascal. I don't know why they out here trying to make it like, oh my God. So now, of course, when I'm in the middle of a show, my phone wants to start doing bullshit. Jesus Christ. I had 11 text messages say, this is how busy I've been today. I have not been checking my phone. I have not been on my phone all day, and I'm looking, and I got all these damn messages and stuff that's going on. It's about to be busy this month, but the rest of the month of April. So I'm just like checking stuff. But anyway, I'm gonna get into the show. I'm not gonna get into the comments right now, because every time I get to the comments, we get so sidetracked that we forget that, okay, people are tuning into for the roast and the gags and the gossip and all that other stuff. So I'm gonna do that. And then I was like, why is the sponge part of my mic all wrinkled? Oh, I think because, you know what? Sometimes when I take all of this apart, when I'm done with the show, I just kind of just toss my microphone in the box. And now it's like, it looked like it's all, whatever. Y'all don't care about all that technical stuff. So let me hit my banner. I'll get to the comments and stuff after we get into some of these topics. So let's get into topic number one. I am live on Instagram in case y'all were wondering. I'm like, damn, why is this thing still showing the intros? Because I'm trying to, oh yeah, it is. Because I'm like looking over at Instagram right now. So just so y'all know, after the hour is up, if y'all happen to be watching a live stream on Instagram, y'all may have to come over to the YouTube because I'm not going to keep putting in the screen key every hour on the hour. It's going to take away from the show. I got to go copy paste. It's a whole headache. So once it's up, it's up. Y'all can just come over with the rest of us over on the YouTube and watch the show if you happen to be watching on the Instagram. But also, what I'll be doing is once the live stream is done, I will be putting timestamps into the show so that way you could just fast forward through all the banter and get right to the topics. So without further ado, let's get into our first topic because word on the curb is they're looking to reboot the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. And they're looking at, I think they're talking about doing a couple of them. But one of the people that they're looking at bringing into the franchise is none other than actor Glen Powell. Wow, let me some Glen Powell. I was like, ooh, that's a sexy ass Texan. You want to know who he reminds me of? And I'm sure a lot of people probably feel this way. He's kind of like this generation's Matthew McConaughey. Like when I was growing up, it was all about Matthew McConaughey and he was the it guy. He was all in the rom-coms. And fun fact, if case y'all didn't know this, Matthew McConaughey was actually in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. I think it was the third one, if I'm not mistaken. Him and Renee Zellweger was in the same movie, and he played part of the kooky family. And I feel like if they really want to kind of go meta with it, have Glen Powell play a part of, Leatherface's family instead of having him come in as this regular guy that's just and just traveling through Texas with his friends, and then they get taken out one by one or whatever by, Leatherface and his family of cannibalistic freaks. So according to Bloody Disgusting, they said that it's now been 3 years since Netflix premiered Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a legacy sequel to Tobe Hooper's originally called horror classic that arrived on February 18, 2022. Now fresh rumors have begun to swirl that the franchise may be revving back to life in a new installment. So, Deadline is reporting that studios are knocking at Verb's door. The agency has repped the rights for Texas Chainsaw Massacre since 2017. While nothing has been officially set in motion, the names showing interest in the IP have us intrigued. So this says that Strange Darling filmmaker J.T. Molnar and producer Roy Lee are at the forefront of the conversation around reviving the franchise, with in-demand actor Glen Powell, star of the upcoming Running Man reboot, interested in reading Molnar's script for a possible star vehicle and producing role. So now he's getting to the point where he's ready to produce. But I'm like, okay, you up there. Now, might as well, right? Lionsgate 824 also reportedly said to be eyeing the IP for a new feature. So I actually think, to be honest, they really need to revive this franchise. No shade. The last time I actually watched a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie and I liked it, was the Jessica Biel one. That was the last time, and I think that was under the Michael Bay umbrella because, he had like this horror imprint that they were making a lot of remakes. It was like the Friday the 13th one, and then, which I actually liked. I still don't understand why it's taken 15 years for us to get another Friday the 13th movie. But I do have some Friday the 13th news that I have after we do this story. So hold on, because, we still got more to talk about. So I'm still mad that we haven't gotten a Friday the 13th movie. And it's been over 15 years. And that was the Jared Padalecki one. And I actually kind of like that one. The one that they had with Jessica Biel, I like that one too. I did not like the one with Jordana Brewster. I did not like the one. Then I think they came out with a couple of ones. I could not stand that one they had on Netflix. I'm like, what is this shit? Now, if y'all want to talk about DI, woke, all that other mess, okay, y'all can incorporate it with that one. Because the most irritating thing that they had about that was all of a sudden these kids from like this, from the big city were trying to come in and colonize this town and blah, blah, blah. And they were acting so like the stereotypical arrogance of what a Gen Zer is, where they were trying to do it all that. And I was just like, I'm just irritated with everybody in this movie. I want everybody to die. And that's kind of like how I felt about it. And then the dumb scene, which I laughed at, but actually I kind of liked it, when they were all on the bus and they thinking, oh, let's hold up our phone and start filming this big scene, and Leatherface starts cutting all their asses up. And I laughed because I'm like, but just take their dumb asses out because all of this, man, this is so stupid. But it makes sense what they were trying to say of how these Gen Zers were. So I did not like that movie. And then they try to bring in the girl who played, I think it was Sally from the original. Well, the original actress passed away. So they brought in another actress to come in and play her. And they were trying to pass off as a legacy sequel, similar to like what was the big trend with Friday the 13th, well, not Friday the 13th, with Halloween, when you had Laurie Strode and the whole, that whole legacy sequel bandwagon they were trying to jump on. Totally wasted her character. The movie, it just irritated me. The way they put that together, I hated it. So with all this coming up, whether it's about A24 might be involved, Lionsgate might be involved. Lionsgate could use a hit right now. I mean, I know they're probably banking on, we're getting John Wick 5. That is in the works. We have Ballerina coming up. A couple of the Lionsgate movies haven't really been doing well. I know they're really banking on Ballerina to do really well. And we already heard what's going on with Saw 11, where they allegedly that's been canceled. That's been the big reports that's been going on. So they could use a hit right now. So if Lionsgate does pick up this film, I wouldn't be mad at them. Although I am loving A24 right now, and I'm liking a lot of stuff that's coming out with them. And on top of that, we have to talk about the fact that it's about the people behind Strange Darling is interested in taking on this franchise. Now, if y'all have not seen Strange Darling, I do not know what the hell is wrong with y'all and what is taking you so long. Y'all need, after this show is over, I can't remember which streaming service it's on. It might be on Hulu, might be on Paramount Plus, it might be on one of the streaming services. Google Schmoogle, it's up there. But I absolutely love this freaking movie. I remember I just bought it I decided to rent it when I was on Amazon or something or another. And I was like, let me check this movie out because I've been hearing so much about it. And I follow Kyle Garner on Twitter and he's in the film. And he's been hyping this movie up. And I'm like, why is everybody, for him going so hard on this movie? And everybody's talking about how great this movie is. So many critics said, yeah, go in completely blind. Do not look up what this movie is about. You have to go in and experience this completely blind. And I recommend you watch the movie like that because the movie shook the hell out of me. Not in a bad way, but it was just like, I thought this movie was going to go one way and it completely flipped itself on its head. And it kind of tells its way in this kind of the way that if you ever saw like Kill Bill and stuff and how they tell, I always forget linear and non-linear confused, but I think it's like a linear way. And the way they told the story, it was kind of similar to how Quentin Tarantino told the story in Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. So if you go, well, Kill Bill mostly. So if you go in it that way, I feel like it's a really good movie that you guys should check out. So I'm actually hoping that this happens. I would love to see Glen Powell in a horror film. I am looking forward to him starring in this Running Man film, which if y'all seen the original Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger, like in this day and age, the way our time and the tone and everything of what's going on in this dystopian third world country that America is about to become, the subject matter of Running Man definitely mirrors what's happening today. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. And the fact of the matter is that Glen Powell is a Texan, born and bred Texan. It makes sense to have him in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. So I'm really hoping that the story is true, that we have JT Molnar, who directed Strange Darling, will be a part of this, and Glen Powell will be a part of it and produce it. And we finally get ourselves a really good, proper Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this story? Are you excited to hear that they're looking to reboot the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise? And Glen Powell may be in talks to star. I actually think it's a good idea. I like Glen Powell. I like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. And if they do decide, wherever they decide to go with this film, I really hope that they decide to just scratch the whole, let's modernize it and bring it into 2025. No. I feel like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre works if you kind of place it pre-cell phone, pre-internet. So set it in the 70s. Kind of like if they decide, whenever they decide to get through this red tape of Friday the 13th, if you're going to do a Friday the 13th, set it in the 80s and leave it there. Don't bring it into modern technology and all this other stuff, because I feel like in so many ways, it was so much easier to make horror movies back then because we didn't have all this extra technology that makes things really difficult to not get people in crazy situations. So set it back then, because that's what I'd be here for. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Let's see who's in the building. Sailor Mermaid is here. Good afternoon. Magical Mermaid is here. Robert says, I heard Kevin Williamson wants Screen 7 delayed to December of 2026. No, I'm sorry. Hell no. Bad enough we have to wait a full year for another Scream movie. But you want it to be delayed so that way you can celebrate your 30th anniversary, because the original movie came out in 1996 and the film came out in, what was it, December? No, I'm sorry. It's like nobody's going to sit and wait around damn near 2 years for a movie that's been sitting in the vault when you could have been had that out. I mean, if anything, if y'all keep talking about this trilogy mess, what you could have did was release Scream 7 this year, and then you had Scream 8 already filmed, because they were talking about, the rumor was they were going to have it go back to back and have the other one come out. If y'all did that, then you could have had Scream 8 come out in 2026 of December to celebrate the 30th anniversary. So if you want to do that, you should have did it that way. I don't like the idea of the fact, look, if people are going to protest, let them protest. If people are gonna protest, they should have the right to protest, just like those people stood outside and protested the premiere of, what was it? Why am I thinking Black Panther? They didn't do it to Black Panther. They did it to Captain America. Captain America: Brave New World. There were people outside that were protesting because of Sabra. There were people outside that were protesting were they protesting the Snow White premiere? I know that they tried to limit it because they didn't want the drama of that. But I know they protested Gal Gadot's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which I don't understand how you only did 4 movies and you getting a whole damn star. Whereas we have people who's been acting for 30 years and have yet to get one or just got it. So my theory is, because of all this stuff that's been going on, this was a DEI. So y'all want to talk y'all version of DEI? This is what I'm gonna use against you people that want to weaponize DEI and all that other mess. This was not, she ain't deserve that damn star in no Hollywood Walk of Fame. What kind of acting outside of being in a couple, like having bit parts in a Fast and the Furious, couple of them, and starring in a horrible ass movie on Netflix with what was it? It was with Dwayne Johnson. That movie was terrible. I can't remember the name of it. What was it? Red Notice or Red Note? Red One. That's Gaga, old producer. But something with red in it. And then you had her do Wonder Woman. The first one was good. The second one was trash. But after that, I was like, okay, like, and Snow White playing the Queen, which everybody says she was miscast in that horribly. What warrants her to get that award? So, if people can stand outside and protest and not get arrested, I don't think that should happen at a screen premiere, because what you're going to do is you're going to rile these fans up even more. Just go do your red carpet, smile, take your pictures, screw the people across the street, let them say they hey, ho, ho, whatever they want to add and fill in the blanks, they pick a signs. We have a right as Americans to protest if we don't agree with something. And so, well, for now, until certain administration tries to get rid of that, but let them protest what they want to protest. I don't agree with them wanting to just take that right away from people because they are mad over Melissa Barrera's fighting. The world goes on. I'm working both shows, so there's really no reason for me to get Kylie tickets. I said, working Kylie Minogue, you got to get no. I was gonna say I'm working both her shows, so I don't need to get tickets. And so you might need to see if Kylie Minogue tickets have to be purchased. How many damn reboots do they need? Maybe Leatherface can audition for. No. First of all, if Leatherface, who likes to wear other people's skin and cross dress and stuff, if there was a show that Leatherface would do, it would be Dragula and not Drag Race. The queens on Drag Race would try to read her for being different and not being a pageant girl and all that other mess, and not trying to look like Arietti, all style and no substance. So what you would need is she would work, and he would, well, we could call her she, that Leatherface would be more valid over there on Dragula. First of all, the Boulets would welcome a Leatherface before anything else. Okay. Um, why is my thing saying can't post comments to some destinations? I'm gonna have to figure it out because all of a sudden I come into StreamYard today and they just changing things around. That's why I was a little spooked early. I was like, now I gotta figure out what these new buttons and stuff are. Every time I come in here, y'all just adding new stuff, and then I gotta sit and learn. Not that I'm not here to learn or educate myself on how to work the buttons when I'm producing my own show, but it's like y'all always add something else. But anyway, let's move on, y'all, to our other horror movie news, and let's get into this tea, which has come out that Linda Cardellini, actually, this I won't say it's old news, but this rumor has been swirling for, I would say, the past week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, that, excuse me, Linda Cardellini, who she was on ER, but I remember her from Freaks and Geeks. That's how far back I go with her. On, with Linda Cardellini, because I've always been a Linda Cardellini fan, and I used to watch Freaks and Geeks with, that's when we met everybody. James Franco was on that. What was his name? I almost said Joe Rogan, Seth Rogen, all of them. They all started out on that show. Whatever happened to the one that played her brother? I haven't seen him in anything. But anyway, so there was a rumor floating around that she was in talks to play Pamela Voorhees, that would be Jason's mother, in the upcoming prequel series Crystal Lake, which we heard that they were working on it. I don't know if they started filming, but I remember there was scripts done. The guy who was behind Hannibal and everything was supposed to be working on the franchise. On the series. What had happened was, I guess, A24 and the people behind the series were not happy with the scripts, were not happy with the direction he was going to take the show. I also heard that the budget was crazy. They was almost spending over $100 million, and y'all already know when it comes to A24 be on a budget. They kind of like Blumhouse and all of them in that sense, where it's like, we don't do 150, 200, we don't do Disney number, but budgets. No, I was going to say number, budgets, whatever. They don't do Disney budget style stuff on their programs. They will give you maybe, to them, I would think like maybe $10, $15 million is like a max. Maybe even they'll push for 20. Although, I think Everything Everywhere All at Once had a big budget because that was an A24 project. But nevertheless, the word on the street, and now it's official, according to Deadline, that Linda Cardellini has signed on. So I was going to talk about this a couple of weeks ago, but I was like, let me wait and see until it's confirmed before we start talking. So now it's confirmed. So fans of the Friday the 13th franchise will recall that Pamela Voorhees was the mother of Jason Voorhees, the hockey mask wearing slasher featured throughout most of the films of the horror franchise. And y'all already know, like, from her story, that in the original movie, this is why I always love when the Scream, when the opening of Scream with Drew Barrymore, who was the killer in Friday the 13th? And it was like, no, that's the wrong answer, which it actually is, because it's like, no, Pamela Voorhees was the killer in the original movie. She killed all the counselors. Then you had, oh my God, I totally forgot her name, Adrienne King, who played the final girl in the original movie, Alice. And then they killed her. Then Jason got his revenge and killed her in part 2, which I was mad about. And then the word on the street was that Adrienne King had signed on to play, I don't know, an undisclosed role in the Crystal Lake series. I'm wondering if she will still be a part of it. I hope so, but we'll have to see. But I haven't heard anything in regards to like casting and stuff. But I remember she was supposed to be a part of the original because she was posting on social media that she was going to be a part of it in some capacity, was giving updates. And I remember at one point they did kill her off in the second one. And the reason why they did that and she wanted out is because she said she had a stalker. So she left the industry and then, then she came back like decades later. But nevertheless, Linda Cardellini, is going to be playing Pamela. I don't know to what capacity, like where they're planning on going with this franchise. Is it really going to be about Jason as a kid and her working at Camp Crystal Lake? And then, we get to see like what had happened to him and stuff that leads up to that. Will we get to meet Jason's father? Like, I'm wondering like where they're planning on going with this whole situation. And remember, they basically, her whole story was because she died, anybody that came back to Crystal Lake, because the camp was closed down and they were reopening it, that she sought revenge on these people because they let her child drown. They were making love while Jason drowned. Remember that? Kill her, mommy, get her. No place to hide. You can't hide. Look, I've seen that movie like 8 million times. So they said Cardellini was recently cast in a lead role in the upcoming HBO series DTF St. Louis alongside David Harbour and Jason Bateman. She's a 3-time Emmy nominee, 1 for Mad Men and 2 for Dead to Me. Her other TV roles include Freaks and Geeks, as I pointed out, ER, which I used to watch, and Bloodline. I don't know what that is, but she was a part of it. Now, in film, she is known for her role, of course. She was in Scooby-Doo, where she played Thelma. Oh, no, it was Velma. I said Thelma. Velma. And then, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. and Stu from Scream was in it. I love those Scooby-Doo movies. Those are like such a guilty pleasure. But anyway, so it said, yeah, she was in the Scooby-Doo live action franchise. And she was also in Brokeback Mountain, playing one of the wives alongside Miss Michelle Williams, the founder, and for playing Laura Barton in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That would be, Hawkeye's significant other. So, the person who is a part of taking over as creator, writer, showrunner, and EP is Brad Caleb. Now, I'm not really familiar with his background on what he's done, but that's what they got. I don't know. So we're just going to have to wait and see if he is actually, like, they found the tone and they figured out what they're going to do and if this is actually going to be a good show. But it says A24 is EPing. Victor Miller, who penned the original film, remains on board as an EP along with Mark Toberoff, Robert M. Barsamian, Robert P. Barsamian. Are they twins? Because y'all got the same name. I mean, same name, but different middle name and same last name. The original Friday the 13th, as y'all know, was released in 1980. It grossed nearly $60 million against a reported budget of $550,000. So they paid, like, the budget was $500,000, and the movie grossed $60 million at the box office. But there, have been 11 films, sequels. We had Freddy vs. Jason, Jason X, the Reboot in 2009 with Jared Padalecki, and then Jason, as y'all know, became the main antagonist from the second film on. So I'm really hoping that with all of this, that they managed to work everything out, because they said Victor Miller, who penned the original film, is an executive producer. But what about the person that was a part of the film and then the ongoing sequels and the people who created Jason? All this, did y'all work all that red tape out? Because I'm really hoping that we get to at least see what Pamela is going to be doing in this franchise, as well as Jason. Like, I want to know, I wanted to be able to see if y'all could be able to use both characters, because there's always been this thing. A reason why I was in limbo for so long is because of it was the Jason versus Pamela situation, and who could use this thing and who couldn't use this IP and this part and this character, and who owns the rights to this thing, and then you have to wait this amount of time for the rights to be up for people to just be able to use it for fair use. It was just a whole mess. So, excuse me. I'm hoping y'all can work it out. I'm looking forward. We need new Friday the 13th in our lives. As somebody who grew up watching these films, and when I shouldn't have been, because I was way too young with the whole Friday the 13th. As a child of the 80s, I should not have been watching these movies, but I was watching them. And as a fan, I really want them to do this franchise justice. So I ask all of you, what do you think of this story regarding Linda Cardellini coming aboard officially as Pamela Voorhees on this long-awaited Friday the 13th prequel series, Crystal Lake? So whatever your thoughts are, I would like to hear from you. So let me know in the comments down below. So let me close these windows and let's go to the comment section. Well, look, I could have sworn I heard some news that they were talking about they were going to remake Blackula. I think I could have sworn I heard that story. So now you're going to be calling me this for now? Blumhouse is trash. Didn't they make that horrible Jim movie? What's that? Well, Blumhouse as of late have been making a lot of bad movies. They could use, you know, a little help in that. I heard they got Linda Hamilton for the new season of Stranger Things. I've heard that too. And you know they're really good at like looking back on past cast members. I mean, people who are like fan favorites in the world of like sci-fi and all other stuff, and bringing them into the Stranger Things. Remember when they had Sean Astin from Goonies, and he was in Lord of the Rings. They had him in a season of Stranger Things. They've Matthew Modine. They've always found people who we grew up watching in like 80s and 90s and stuff, and incorporate them in the show. So I'd be here for it. Linda Hamilton. I love Linda Hamilton. I don't feel like, I mean, I feel like she kind of retired a bit. And then she came back for that last Terminator movie where it was actually on at the gym and I got distracted a little bit. I was supposed to be doing my deadlifts and I'm sitting there watching, you know, Terminator on the TV. TSO announces the return of trance, saying the sound is back to relevance. Now, let's show how I am the godfather of trance. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, it doesn't suck. I'm sure TSO will be at Ultra. I've seen him a few times there. He goes every year. You talking about Jim and GJEM. You talking about Jim and the holograms. And yes, I did watch Jim and the Holograms because my sister watched it. And said, I love the cartoon. Mm-hmm. It's like, yes, I watched all those shows. I mean, Saturday morning cartoons. In between my G.I. Joe and my He-Man and Masters of the Universe, I was sitting there in Scooby-Doo and Thundercats and all those other cartoons. It was like, yeah, my sister was watching, you know, the Snorts, the Smurfs, Jim and the Holograms. There was the what was the other one? They had the Munchie-Cheese. Remember that? It was like we had so many damn shows on Saturday morning cartoons. So yeah, I watched all them shows. Anyway, let's move on, y'all, and let's get into this Snow White stuff. So Snow White came. It's in the box office. I mean, not in the box office. It's in the theater. And, you know, it did what it did at the box office, but I think they were tracking it and saying like it wasn't really going to do all that well at the box office. So, yeah, it did what it did. It's underperforming, but you know, so but Movie Web broke it down. So let's get into their story. So as you know, Snow White has been surrounded by controversies from the moment it announced Rachel Zegler's casting for the titular role. Then she got in trouble for making comments about, you know, that she's not going to be some damsel in distress, and a man's not going to be, you know, she's not going to be clamoring for a man to come save her, and all, you know, all that stuff. And people got upset about it. Then of course Gal Gadot came out recently. Well, she's been very vocal about, you know, since what happened in October with the attack on Israel and her policies on that, especially when she was a part of the Israeli army she served. So she was an Israeli soldier. So of course, her views are going to pretty much stroke the fence, if not hop over it, on the side of Zionism. And so people are pissed off at her about this. Another thing I didn't know, and I heard that she revealed this on a TV show. Godot was not even her real name, her last name. A lot of times when you get people from Israel or people who are Jewish or descendants of, or 8th generation, 7th, 6th, 5th generation, whatever, when they want to settle in parts of Israel, they go and change their name so it sounds a little racially ambiguous, because I didn't know Netanyahu's last name is not actually Netanyahu. It's a different name. But her actual last name is Greenstein. And when they went over to Israel, her family and stuff, they went and changed their name so they could sound a little racially ambiguous. So it makes sense that she would go up and straddle on the side. She was, you know, ride the fence of Zionism, because she's making it seem like, oh, well, people are, you know, anybody who sits and says that they have empathy for like understanding on why Hamas did what they did, you're anti-Semitic. You are laughing at the fact of people getting killed and all of the stuff, and that's not what we're doing, because clearly where's that same energy for Israel killing hundreds of thousands of Palestinians? You worried about a couple of hundred, and don't get me wrong, killing is killing, it's wrong, period, on both sides. However, the math ain't math, and when we want to sit and talk about the amount of people that was taken and killed from Israel and invaded versus the consistent war that is happening currently, Israel versus Gaza. and the hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. Within the last 48 hours, 400 people were killed or seriously injured. So, sis, if you're gonna sit down here and you want empathy for one side, we gotta have understanding for everybody. That death is wrong, period. But I get it. When you was probably out there taking lives, brown lives, you didn't see it the same way that everybody else was seeing it. You only gonna see it through your Zionistic rose-colored glasses. And like I said before, I do not understand how this broad who only has probably, like, you can count on one hand how many movies she's done. How the hell she get a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame? How? And then I had somebody in my comments over on social media talking about, oh, people are protesting over some stupid award. Oh, to you, that's what it is, because you're not winning it. But to everybody else who's getting a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame, how do you want to tell people not to protest against something when you have somebody out here promoting in so many ways without saying it, but based off of your beliefs, we see what side you teeter on, that you are all for the death of brown people, Muslims, brown folks in Palestine. You're for the death of them because they're hurting your people. And what this is all about is colonialism. We have a current president who took money from Miriam Adelson so that way they can strip what's left of the West Bank. So we're gonna send into a politics. You need to understand what the stakes are and what's going on before y'all sit and talk about, well, people are sitting out here protesting over some actress winning an award. Do you even know her history before she became an actress? So before y'all sit and say the things, you need to understand why people are feeling the way they feel, and they have a right to protest. So it may be dumb to you, but it's not dumb to them. Especially when lives are being taken. That clearly is not affecting you. So new reports, in addition to all of that, because it's like we got to throw the politics in it because it has to do with why maybe a lot of this stuff may have affected the overall reason why a lot of people didn't go see the movie. That on top of the fact that, from what I've heard, like remember the initial story that came out, and I did a whole thing on it in a separate article or topic that we covered on the show a couple of episodes ago. There's some people that said it was getting good reviews and stuff. It was probably those people that are bought and paid for by the industry and are just gonna not come out and say stuff. But I've been watching other people who went to see this movie, and they pretty much have been like, it doesn't really reinvent the wheel. They made a couple of different changes and things of that nature, and Rachel Ziegler is good in it. But she cannot save this movie on its own. And this was basically an unnecessary remake. And particularly, of what generation cares about a Snow White? You know how old Snow White is? Snow White came out in like the 30s. So what young kid of today, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, gives a damn about a Snow White? Unless you have a parent who most likely grew up watching those films. That would be millennial. Who else? Before that, all the generations before that, maybe they would care, because my generation was like, when you have millennials and then you have Gen X and that sort of thing. We actually grew up watching that type of animated stuff. So I can understand why you want to pass that down. And because it looks cute or whatever, and you got a little girl, by default, I feel like parents will probably take their kids to see it because of that. But for the most part, I don't know, not one person that asked for a remake of some damn Snow White, let alone in live action. So a new report suggests that despite the loud voices on the internet seemingly pulling Snow White into a culture war, general audiences didn't seem to care, as the movie seemed to perform evenly across the country in red and blue leaning cities. For over 4 years, most of the discourse about Snow White has not been about the actual movie itself, but behind the scenes. While the internet certainly makes this a big deal, one must remember that online discourse does not always translate to the real world, which is something I have been saying for the longest. I keep saying to you all, while the internet is one thing, we got the Matrix and we have the real world. When you step outside the Matrix, you realize most of these people are not paying attention to all these little nuances that I just pointed out to y'all. This is one little silo. That would be the movie silo, the movie aspect of the industry, like this, that whole bubble. And then you have those people who are following whatever when it comes to the political aspect of, the incel was just, oh, it's anti-male and it's woke. And it's, when you got Daily Mail trash ass, over there with the whole, well, wokeism and woke. Like every time I see a thing about Snow White, I roll my eyes at their article because they always throw woke in there. And it's like, we know what y'all mean when y'all say that, when y'all trying to weaponize that word into something that ain't even for y'all. Woke is the word for black folks. But of course, here we go with the colonizers, always taking stuff that was initially for us, for black folks, where we're just being vigilant and aware of anti-black situations. Stay up, be woke. That's what that's about. It's not for you people to be out here and trying to weaponize that and eat fucking I, which y'all, another one y'all citing took too. Because apparently y'all don't want people who are different or include different people who have different religions, sexual orientations, gender, background, whatever, into y'all situation. White people want the leg up, but they don't want anybody else, because apparently if we have to work 10 times as hard and we get stuff, of course, it's because we got to fill a quota. When that's completely different, if you want to talk about something else, that is not diversity and inclusion. It's not the same thing. There might have been like maybe affirmative action or something, but that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, so what they said in the article, in a report published by Deadline, they said box office analytics company Intelligence revealed that despite a seeming conservative-based backlash to Snow White, the movie overperformed in Red County-based cinemas compared to other films, with 40% ticket sales and 43.5% admissions. The report did indicate that 60% of ticket sales for Snow White and 56.5% of the film's total attendance, 3.1 million admissions, came from theaters in blue counties. However, it is worth remembering that most theaters in the U.S. reside in blue county cities like New York, Chicago, and L.A. This does suggest that audiences across the political spectrum and all over the country turn out to see Snow White as in a much more even distribution than the online discourse would have one believe. Now, of course, when you point out statistics and come out with actual data and statistics and facts, people will be like, oh, you're just making this up. Well, suck my ass, the shit out my ass with a straw. Because if I'm pointing out to y'all that the movie did well evenly across stuff, that's just a fact. You're going to continue to hate on the movie regardless. I don't give a damn. I'm not watching no damn Snow White. I'm not the demographic. I didn't ask for this movie. I don't care about it. But if we're going to talk, because of what all the stuff that's the tomfoolery and all the hoopla, we have to talk about it. So Steve Buck, Intelligence Chief Strategy Officer, told Deadline the following. He said there was no red theater blockade due to any perceived controversies with Snow White. In fact, the opposite. Theaters in red counties performed better than they would normally for a family/animated film in the size and scope. So I kind of wonder is, who are these people that's online that was running around making all these accusations? And that kind of makes me wonder too, that a lot of these people, these same ones that was bitching and moaning on social media about woke and blah 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 blah, all that other crap, I bet you your bottom dollar that they were the main ones in that goddamn theater watching this movie. And this is the same way I feel about when Scream 7 comes out. These same incels that run on social media because y'all want attention and y'all like that endorphin fix whenever y'all channel your inner, basement dwelling anger, that y'all will be on that movie theater day one watching this damn film. The same ones that want to see it fail. Or you're just going to hate regardless. Or some people just, they get off on all that stuff on social media. Like I said before, I don't care. I'm not going to see it. Now, maybe if it pops up on Disney Plus and I just got it on the background and there's like nothing to watch, then I'll probably watch it. But I could care less about one of the seasons. I'm not the demographic. So like I said, it's like, families and all the stuff, they probably wanted to go see this. But they said that, with people being pissed off about Rachel Zegler playing Snow White, apparently her casting paid off, because they're saying that she did well amongst Latinos, that a lot of Hispanic people came out to see it because Rachel Zegler was in it. So they said the audience for Snow White was 30% Latino/Hispanic moviegoers, behind the 43% Caucasian moviegoers. Snow White overperformed in Latino and Hispanic markets like Dallas, San Antonio, and Phoenix. So you had two parts of Texas, San Antonio and Dallas, and then you had Arizona. So a lot of where there are it's a high amount of Hispanic people, they went to support this film. The highest performing theater for Snow White for its opening weekend was notably a Disney theater, the AMC Disney Springs in Lake Buena Vista, Florida, which is in a red state and had a wider draw for moviegoers than any AMC or even the Disney-owned El Capitan Theater in Los Angeles, California. So like I said, there are people who live in the Matrix, and there are people who are in the real world. Because in the real world, it seemed like a lot of y'all just get off, get your jollies, your buttholes pucker whenever y'all put all this negative energy out here. But y'all be the main ones that will run to the store or go to the theater and support these films. I just realized my laptop is not plugged in, but I'm going to have to plug it in after I finish the topic. They said, there certainly will be a lot of analysis on Snow White's box office draw, as people will point out the $43 million as a major flop, considering films like Cinderella and Maleficent opened above $60 million a decade ago, where that movie's based on Disney Renaissance films like Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid drew in $100 million opening weekend. Even Deadline notes that ceiling at the box office could also be attributed to the fact that there's a lack of demand for older Disney IP, which I literally said that maybe the fact of the matter is nobody asked for this film. There was really no point in us getting a movie, a live action remake of Snow White. Who asked for this film? So Snow White performing on par with Dumbo, another classic Disney movie, getting a live-action remake. Who asked for that? Indicates why Disney sent other live-action remakes of Disney classics like Pinocchio, Peter Pan and Wendy, and Lady and the Tramp to Disney Plus. Maybe they should have sent this to Disney Plus too, and just took like a tax write-off or something. I don't know. So they said Snow White is underperforming at the box office, considering how much Disney reportedly spent on the movie. Yet it is important to note that despite all the hate aimed at Snow White online, it still managed to draw in more moviegoers than the previous week's top 5 films combined. Yeah, that's true, because guess what? In the movie, it didn't really have much to go up against, because number one, they said a lot of movies did bad. There was a movie that came out, some gangster film with Robert De Niro. They're gonna dump that straight on the streaming service, quiet as it's kept. I don't know who thinks that people are going to the movies of a certain age to go see some independent gangster movie with Robert De Niro. They said that movie did really bad at the box office. And not only that, you know what else came out this weekend? Magazine Dreams with Jonathan Majors. That movie made under $1 million. That is a huge flop for that film. So they could have just dumped that on the streaming service. I don't even know why y'all even thought about putting Magazine Dreams in the theater. And especially with some people probably think, well, do you think all this controversy behind Jonathan Majors may have hurt the film? I don't really think they were promoting it, because I didn't see any promotions. But I saw like one measly little trailer. Yeah, Jonathan Majors has been doing a couple of interviews. He went on Sherry Shepherd. He did like I guess Extra, Access Hollywood, the normal mainstream things that nobody I know watches except older people who still have a TV. I told you I have streaming, and I would see the clips and stuff on YouTube, and I didn't care to watch. Because I'm not really like, I don't want to hear Jonathan Majors talk, because I don't need you trying to talk like using your Harvard degree when you're trying to talk, because I feel like you being very smug. Like a lot of them, and I did go to college, so I can say this, but a lot of times when people who are college educated, a lot of y'all do talk like y'all act like y'all the smartest ones in the room. And I love trying to read y'all down to the floor, showing you're not as smart as me, sir and ma'am. So just because you got your little 8 degrees, you're not going to outread me in the intelligence department. So I get off a little bit on trying to go toe to toe with some of you Ivy League educated morons. Because just because you got an Ivy League education, don't mean that you got full intelligence. Because a lot of y'all could be book smart, but street smart. A lot of y'all don't have that. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this latest news surrounding Snow White? And the fact that, yeah, this isn't a fairy tale ending that Disney hoped for. Yet again, with all do you think the controversy that was all in the situation, in the zeitgeist of social media, the people online trolling it, and, the people who were against Gal Gadot, the people who were against what Rachel Ziegler had to say, all the other discourse, do you think that may have hurt the film, despite it doing well in certain markets? And yeah, they had a big outcome of the Latino Hispanic community came out and supported it, the movie still, in so many ways, based on the budget they gave it, I'm sure it was like close to $200 million. I don't know what the exact full budget is. If y'all know, drop it in the comments. I ain't got time to Google schmoogle. You know, when I'm in the live, I'm like, there's a lot going on in the head and the buttons and all the other stuff, especially when you're a party of one doing the show. So, do you think that may have hurt it? And of course, with it making like under $50 million on possibly a close, and I'm guessing it's close to $200 million budget, because these major networks, I mean, these companies are so ridiculous with their freaking ballooning prices, and those CGI dwarves, don't even get me started, because the way they was looking, they looked a mess too. So I would love to hear from y'all. Let me know what your comments are in the comment section down below. Wait, hold on. Because I'm like, why is my... I was like, why is my damn computer not plugged in? My battery was about to die too. It was like at, what's the percentage? Like, I thought it was right. At 38%, I would not have survived on a 38% battery. I was like, let me plug in this laptop. Man, why was my laptop not plugged in? I think I pulled something out. But anyway, let's go to the comments, because a lot of y'all got a lot to say, and there's a lot of comments, Chad. So please hold. Me too. Okay, but you can believe what you want to believe. I do have a sister who's a year older than me, and yes, we did watch those cartoons together. I've noticed Rainbow Bright was made. Oh yeah, I used to watch. Yeah, we used to watch that too. I said, I used to watch Rainbow Bright. My sister watched it. My younger brother, he came like 3 years later, so I don't even know if that show was around when he was around. I miss Boomerang showing the old cartoons from past 6 decades. I believe it. She probably sing like she talks, that horrible thick ass Israeli accent she got. I watched Modern Girls review on it, and it wasn't as bad as many thought it was. It added very interesting ideas that would make it more interesting. That's what I said. I heard that it wasn't as bad as everybody was out trying to make it to be, but I still don't care enough to want to see it. Not you putting her government in here, but Gal Gadot Greenstein, I heard, was absolutely horrible. She can't sing nor act. Like, damn, what is she good for? Um, yeah, that is that's what I said. We're gonna weaponize, since y'all want to turn DEI into that, what y'all version, we're gonna use y'all version back on y'all and see if you like it. Since y'all want to colonize our stuff and try to change it over into the message y'all want to turn over into. So we're gonna use y'all iteration of DEI higher against, in your situation. But yeah, our husband is a producer in Hollywood, so that's probably who paid for it. It seems Snow White is up there with Dumbo, and it should have followed Lady and the Tramp, Peter Pan, because its release date is 1937, where the Renaissance era was more successful in theaters. Yeah, and I was like, this younger generation ain't here for no damn Snow White, so I don't even understand the point of it. The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and the Lion King, even Mufasa, and I've heard Mufasa is not that good, but it was successful at the box office. You can't hate when the movie's making money. Gal Gadot has a career because it's funny. I think how she got discovered is she did a photo shoot. I think it was for Maxim magazine, one of those other ones, where they were doing like hot Israeli soldiers or something or another, and she happened to be one of the models featured. And I think that's how she got her start. I think her first role was Fast and the Furious, and that was like how Vin Diesel was doing. He would just, and look, if we ain't expecting Shakespeare when we watching Fast and the Damn Furious. I mean, hello, did y'all remember Ronda Rousey's acting? Her acting was atrocious, but I was just like, we love the scene between her and Michelle Rodriguez. It was just an excuse for them to start fighting. But yeah, well, she was pretty to look at, and it was funny how they tried to. There was like one shot where she had to go seduce one of the guys in Fast and the Furious, and she was just like took her little sarong off. You see her walking her little bikini, no ass at all. And I just love how these cameras just be focusing like, "Ooh, yeah, look at her ass." I'm like, what ass? Like, y'all really ain't around people of color enough, because if y'all think that's an ass, y'all got some cataracts issues. You need your eyes checked. And that ass about as flat as the rest of her. And it's like, I heard Rachel wasn't bad, and her singing was pretty good. Well, she is a singer, so I know her singing wasn't going to be bad, but I can't forgive the style of her Bob in costume. Well, is that the same Bob from the cartoon? I think it was on brand with that. Also, as controversial as Rachel casting was, even the haters have to swallow pride. Yeah. And look, is she on Broadway again? She was in Romeo and Juliet with what's his name? One of the kids. Is that a common name over in the UK? Your name is Kit. So one of the kids from Heartstopper, she was doing a show with him. And then I believe she's doing another play on Broadway. No, not Broadway. I think it's the West End or something or another. I can't remember. I could have sworn I talked about it on this show, but I can't remember what it exactly is. Oh, it's Avita. That's what she's doing. She's playing Ava Perón. Once upon a time, two people played her. We know of Miss Patty LuPone, iconic, even though she be a little, with her mouth, she's an icon. And Madonna. So she playing Ava Perón. It matches the original style. For what I heard, Gal Gadot only has a crib. That's what I said. Her husband's a producer in Hollywood. So, when you fucking the right ones, the gown isn't horrible, but not something that should be worn for a feature film. It would be fine for a Halloween costume. Well, maybe they got it from damn, what's that Halloween store? Yeah, I forgot the name. That Halloween store that they be having all over in the city. Like I said, I care about Snow White, but I grew up watching the Disney classics. Gen Z and Alpha also watched the movies that were passed down. That's why I said also that people do pass down. I always say this particularly with white people versus black folks, because black folks, y'all don't, no shade, but y'all don't pass shit down. But white people, I've noticed, like when it come down to the music and things, they are notorious for passing down their music from generation to generation. I couldn't tell you, like, when I worked certain events, how Billy Joel fans was like older people who damn near could barely walk, to their kids and their grandkids and their great grandkids was all up in there. When I worked the Disturbed concert, which I would have to say that was the most chill audience that I've ever encountered in a while, versus when I saw them. And it was funny because Dave Draymond mentioned, I said, "Child, now this is a full circle mess right here." He mentioned his when he did Webster Hall. I was like, damn, I was at that show too. He said how we started out, we did Webster Hall, and now we at Madison Square. I said, damn, I was at that show 20 plus years ago. So, and that was the first time I actually saw them live. So it was like that whole full circle. I was like, it's funny how the world works, and you don't really look at things like that. And everybody in there was pretty mellow. Even I was looking down at the mosh pit, they were pushing and all that stuff, but and then one young kid was like short, kept jumping up on this big dude. I'm like, I kind of want to see that sex tape because it was like the way he kept jumping on top of this big dude. This dude looked like he was about 6'4", 3', like he was a big dude. And then you see this young, small little boy, and like not boy, but he just kept jumping on top of this guy. I'm like, that man gonna break you in half. You better stop. Mm-hmm. So she's basically she's getting away from that whole dance pop thing. Because it was like, I guess it was like, well, if you're gonna go in and if you're gonna go and kind of do Lady Gaga style, I guess Gaga's like, well, might as well just work with the producer that, when you was working with Ava Max, you trying to make Gaga light. Let me actually work with the very people so that way I could get my sound back. And now Ava Max is going to this other thing. I'm like, okay, girl. Well, good luck to you. Because if you're going to a sound I'm not really here for, then I'm like, we'll put you out the past and I'll listen to the old stuff. But I wasn't really a big Ava Max fan. She had some cute songs, but we didn't know who she really was. Maybe she finally found herself. My young nieces and nephews like movies like Moana, Inside Out, Sing, and movies with that kind of animation. The more updated stuff, because these young kids, the new generation, been spoiled since what we got when we was younger. But we're a product of our times. Technology is still evolving. Is that her? What is her actual singing? You know, what is she? What is her actual tone? Is it like, is she a soprano, mezzo soprano, or is she an alto? Like, well, alto is more deeper. Like, what is her actual, situation? I just need to know, like, what, like, her vocal range. Like, what would she be categorized as? Because you said you wanted her to go with a soprano approach. Is that her wheelhouse? I didn't see the movie, but gal singing can't be as bad. Isn't speaking of which, is Wicked about to come out this week on Peacock, if I'm not mistaken? I finally got speaking of which, I finally got around to watching The Crooked Man with what was it? Hellboy. That movie was terrible. I had to turn that off. It was the budget looked like they spent like that movie cost $10. It just looked bad. I was like, I can't, and it was boring. I'm like, okay, can we get some action? Y'all talking too damn much, or was that just the budget? Y'all couldn't afford. I mean, even a spider in the opening sequence, I'm like, this looked literally like it's fake. It's all about extending copyrights because the original goes to the public domain next year. Oop. So so StreamYard is done. An hour is up already. And yeah, let me remove it. So yeah, if y'all want, y'all gonna have to come over to the YouTube. And I said that in the beginning. So I mean they did those Winnie the Pooh horror movies. Oh, speaking of which, did y'all see the one with the Popeye the Slayer Man? They put out a trailer for that. And then you got David Howard Thornton playing like this little killer rat on the Staten Island Ferry. Oh yeah, you just posted that there's a horror movie coming out with Popeye. Hillary Clinton shared a story of Pete's text leaking about going to war to destroy the Middle East and Europe. My emails with the prop. Yeah, there was a text. How do you accidentally text what was it, The Atlantic, about Trump's war? This is what happens when y'all hire people that don't know what the hell they're doing to run a country. You want loyalists. You don't want people that actually know how to do the child. We about to end. We about to become a third world country. We are doomed. We are doomed. I sound like the old man from Friday the 13th. We're all doomed. I said, yeah, that old queen who like to wear lifts. I don't know who wears bigger lifts, him or Tom Cruise. They said new Miley Cyrus album coming out. Her take on heavy metal and hard rock, saying I don't have a sound because I've been influenced by lots of music. Well, I'm definitely looking to hear it because I didn't like that last album. The only song I thought that was good on that album was Flowers, and you already know she's being sued by the people behind Bruno Mars. And I was gonna bring that topic up, but it was a lot, like I said, that we have to talk about. So I'm gonna save that story for tomorrow. But I always said, like, yeah, I totally agree. Miley definitely has I mean, like, especially how her raspy her voice is. I love the tone of her voice. She definitely could do rock. I don't know why she wouldn't have gone into that sooner. Like, to me, I look at her as like, she can go and take more of like that 80s Pat Benatar approach. If it was like Pat Benatar meets Courtney Love, I'm like, bitch, now that would serve. If she kind of goes in that whole hodgepodge, I could definitely see her doing that. I mean, what was that called? The Pets album or whatever. She dabbled in rock before. The Dead Pets. So then another one genre is stupid and reductive. You should cover all the stuff that influenced and help your fans open their horizons. Bob and executives are pushing these remakes for tax cuts. And oh yeah, yeah. Look, as long as people run to the theater to see it, they're gonna keep making them. So stop going to see it, people. But then again, if they see how these numbers was just bad recently for how much it made, the interesting thing will be to see how much it makes next week because it's going to go up against that movie with Jason Statham, which I actually want to see. I don't know what other movies is coming out this week, but that's why I like doing different genres when I remix a song. But you got to diversify your portfolio. I gagged when I found out that the same designer who made 2015 Cinderella dresses made the dresses for. Mm-mm. And I like that Cinderella movie. Somebody in here one time, I don't remember who it was, thought that I was referencing the Cinderella movie with Camilla Cabori and Bad Bottom Row Teeth. What's his name? Billy Porter. I was like, not that movie. I didn't even watch that shit. I was like, I ain't watching that mess. The one that was in the theaters. They need to back off and let the creative work their magic. Or how about just coming up with something different? Yeah, that's what I was saying. I couldn't remember what it was. It was like, yeah, she's doing Avita, Party City. Wait, Party City sells Halloween cup? Is that where I got my No, I forgot. No, there's another one that's you might be right. It might be Party City. I could be bugging. And you say, not Baby's Kids. I haven't seen that movie in a million years. Oh, so she is a soprano. Oh, so it is out already. I thought it was coming out next week. I haven't been on Peacock in a minute because, first of all, I got to catch up on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and I still have not got around to watching the final two. Well, the last episode of The Traitors and the reunion. So I'm a little behind on Peacock, but I was like, I didn't know that it was up. I was trying to catch up on some movies and stuff yesterday. Didn't happen. So I'm gonna have to catch it because I'm like, I really need to get around to finally watching. Thank you. Spirit Halloween. I don't know why I couldn't think about remember that damn name. That's why I have y'all, because y'all help me remember stuff. Don't worry, I do not have dementia. I just can't remember everything. But anyway, let's move on to I was about to say, damn, we haven't gotten that far into the show. We are the topic number 4, y'all. Let's get into this Beyonce tea. So, the other day, you already know, Koonye was out here being a hot mess, saying whatever he could pull out his ass for attention. And so Tina Knowles came out and said something. She wanted to go a little Michelle Obama with it. When they go low, we go high. I roll my eyes. I'm like, okay, sis. Now you want to sit up here and be all demure mindful when this man out here talking about your kids, like you was talking about Rumi and Sir, because you said the twins, which if you actually was paying attention instead of on your stupid ass rants on Twitter, we have seen Rumi out in these streets. There was a recent picture, and I do have it, and I'm going to pull it up, where Jay-Z was I believe he was at the halftime thing with Blue Ivy, and he was with Rumi, and they all took a picture together. So Rumi been out in these streets if you was actually paying attention, but you was trying to be on social media, trying to be cute with your tight ass reads, and you got dragged for it. I don't know if people was really dragging him hard, because I don't understand why y'all continue to make excuses for that man. Oh, he off his meds. Oh, he this. And my thing is this ninja is pushing 50. He on the later side of 40. So he's damn near 50. On social media, throwing rants around, accusing the mother of his 4 kids of being a sex trafficker when last I checked, you the one that decided to marry her. You the one that decided to climb on top of her, had her legs up to Jesus and her lucite heels while you was putting 4 babies up in her. So if you want to talk about sex trafficking, we need to talk about how you decide to lay down with a sex trafficker. And let's not forget, you're only saying all of this, and don't get me wrong, I'm not windmilling for the Kardashians. Y'all already know how I feel about the Kardashians. I can't stand none of their half wannabe black asses. I don't like none of them. They irritate me. They're not but a bunch of damn grifters. They have made their entire career off the backs of blacks. So I don't particularly like them for many reasons. But when you know a broken clock is right twice a day, when somebody's in the wrong and some people's in the right, I gotta give them their flowers where it's due. And so I applaud Kim, in between her twerking on top of Teslas, that she's at least out here looking out for the benefit and the welfare of her child, who one, you decided to put on a song with the diddler and his other son who was accused of rape, because Christian been out here accused of sexual assault too, not just his father. I don't know what's going on with the court, the discourse around that, but we know what's going on with his father. Then on top of that, she had to put the kibosh on her child staying with you because you was about to have the Tates up in your damn house. So you want to sit out here and hobnob with a bunch of rapists and SAers and sex traffickers and this, that, and the other. But you got the nerve to call Kim Kardashian one and talking about how she out here prostituting and all this other stuff. But I'm like, you laid down with that prostitute. You knew who Kim was before you got with her, allegedly. I'm going on based on how she was behaving before you decided to wife her. And then you decide to go in and drag Jay-Z because you mad because y'all relationship wasn't what you thought it was. He got a lot of things going on. He got a family to deal with. He got business endeavors and stuff. You busy on social media writing your tight-ass tweets and a bunch of damn caps for attention. So while Tina out here being demure and mindful, well, her commentary, Mathew Knowles decided to take a different approach. Shout out to him, because we ain't heard from Mathew in a while. So Mathew is making it crystal clear. He said Kanye's controversial antics, especially those attacking his family, won't fly forever, and it's just a matter of time before it costs him dearly. If you wind up in a ditch somewhere or disappeared. So West courted controversy, as y'all know, when he questioned Jay-Z and Beyonce's twins' mental capacity. Beyonce's mom earned praise from fans for her seemingly calm response. She decided, as I said, to be demure and mindful and took the high road. So Mathew spoke to TMZ and basically said that West will reap the rewards of his actions soon enough. Mathew said that after over 3 decades in the business, he knows that people pay a price for being stupid, especially in the music industry. Although Mathew is displeased with West's comments about his grandkids, he acknowledged that the college dropout rapper's mental illness is behind his constant rants on social media. Hence, he hoped that the father of 4 will find help, saying, "I'm hopeful Kanye gets the kind of help he needs in terms of mental health." Well, here's the thing. At what point do we stop blaming mental health on the stuff that comes out of Kanye's mouth and realizes that this heifer is just one tweet away from being caught up in a conservatorship a la Wendy Williams and Britney Spears? He the one that's under only a matter of time before he locked up behind a glass, waving, at a window from TMZ shooting up at them from wherever you being held at. And why is it that, when we look at a Wendy Williams or we look at a Britney Spears, y'all be so quick to lock the women up, but then when this man been out here saying and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, why does he get the room free? Why isn't he in a conservatorship? And I truly hope that that Kim decides to file for sole custody and be like, no, you need to stay away from these kids because you are absolutely batshit crazy. Unfortunately, these are the cards that y'all were dealt. Y'all stuck together, whether you like it or not, for the rest of your lives. And according to her, you ain't really been in them kids' lives as you've been claiming. You like to run around and say that, oh, she's keeping me away from my kids and all this other stuff. But according to Kim, you don't be coming around. And she tries to be diplomatic about it. And she tries to shield these kids. I don't know how y'all think that works. Y'all a bunch of damn public figures. Y'all do a reality show. And you thinking that there's certain aspects of your personal life that you could shield away from your kids? Who are you fooling? Except in your own delusions of grandeur. Like, you are not fooling anybody trying to hide what's going on with your kids from, what's happening in the public with their father from these kids. These kids have social media. These kids go to school. They have classmates. You don't think these kids be talking? Wasn't there a story that came out regarding, what was it? What the hell's her name? The chick that was on Teen Mom that was out here spreading her damn legs. Wasn't there a story that she was talking about that why a bunch of 5-year-olds or whatever talking about sex in school, in the classroom and all this other stuff? Like, why are they talking about? I said because they hear stuff, the parents is talking about it and they pass it down. So why were you expecting that this is not what kids was talking about? When I was growing up pre-internet and I was in school and it was like I was learning about sex and hearing all kinds of crazy stuff from kids in my class when I was in middle school. So you'd be surprised what these kids are learning when they're in school. If they don't learn from the parents, they're learning somewhere else. So yeah, so that's basically what he said, that he's going to reap what he sows, and I do feel like that is what's going to happen. And the reaping of the sowation may come in the form of Jay-Z and Beyonce, because word on the street is that they're considering legal action against this heifer over what he has said. Yeah, I'm gonna combine all this in one video. So a source told Page Six that the couple will absolutely not stand for it after the stronger rapper has spoken about their children in such a vulgar and offensive manner. Jay-Z and Beyonce are aware of the post. Koonye, because y'all know that's who he is to me, has since deleted and are discussing how they want to handle the situation, whether that be privately and or in a legal matter. The pair, who tied the knot in April of 2008, have no plans to publicly address Kanye's Twitter post about their kids. Now, as y'all know, Koonye, who's 47, he a little older than that, questioned 7-year-old twins Rumi and Sir's mental capacity before deleting the unprovoked post, only to reshare it in the early hours on Wednesday. However, the Grammy winner clarified that he had wiped the hateful upload in order to be a good. He didn't wipe it to be a good person. That's what he said. He said, "I need everyone to know that I took the post about Jay-Z and Beyonce's family down because there was a possibility of my Twitter being canceled. Reps for Koonye, Jay-Z and Beyonce did not return to page 16, whatever. I mean, why would you think that when you got Apartheid Clyde running the show over there? So yeah, here's the picture here. Since he want to sit and talk about why, the capacity of the kids, what we have Blue Ivy, is the tall one right here. She looks like my child. She looks like my goddaughter Jocelyn. Like they favor each other in a lot of ways. Jay-Z is here. Can't miss him. And then there goes Rumi. So she's out and about. We don't see Sir. Maybe he doesn't like to be in the spotlight. Or maybe he does have autism or whatever the case is. But if he does, what is that of your concern? Why are you spreading this type of negative information about someone's private endeavors on their kids? And you being a grown-ass man pushing 50, why are you picking on children? That makes you a bully. And I get that you released an album that nobody listened to called Bully, but I don't understand the purpose of you picking on children, defenseless kids that ain't have nothing to do with this conversation. Because if anybody told about your 4 kids, I would love to see how you react to that. Especially if they talking about that half a bulldagger daughter, Northwest. Because you ain't going to tell me she ain't going to be eating pussy by the time she turned 18. So if you want to sit out here and try to read people children, let's not go there, sir. Because if somebody did that, gave you that same energy, you would not like it. And how Beyonce and them decide if they want their kids in the spotlight, that's on them. Blue Ivy wants to be in the spotlight. Blue Ivy likes to perform. So she chooses to be on the spotlight. You ain't talked about her. And Rumi, we see her every now and again. And I really hope that the Beehive swarmed his ass and stung and ate him up in them comments. I don't know if they did because I wasn't paying attention over there. I don't be on Twitter like that. I post things, I leave it in the ether, and I go about my business because I don't engulf myself with all this. Out of sight, out of mind. Once I'm done with this story, I move on. But I'd love to know if the Beehive ate him up in the comments. Or went in on him or doxed him or do whatever. Oh, all the things that the Barbs be doing. Why we need the Beehive to get on that. Because they talking about your queen. And they talking about the children of your queen. They talking about the prince and the princess of the Beehive. So, where y'all at? Get to stinging. Keep stinging them. And like I said before, we're going to stop using his mental illness as an excuse because the man's got way more money than me and a lot of us that, in our lifetime. He's wealthy, so he claims. There is no excuse why you can't get if you have mental issues, you can't be on your meds. That you can't be doing all the things or have all your ducks in a row where all the people can keep you mentally capacitated. There is no excuse. And we're not going to keep making excuses for a damn near 50-year-old making disgusting comments, not only about Beyonce and Jay-Z kids, but he tried to come from Playboy Cardi and Iggy Azalea's child too, to which Iggy had to get on social media. I wish I had that damn footage, where she had to go in and start spilling all kind of Kanye's tea, talking about how he used to beat off to her pictures and want to know about her man dick size and stuff, which I always be thinking like, Kanye got half a faggot up in him. I truly believe it. There's a lot of suppressed homosexualness that's, floating in his situation because he got all kinds of, and you can't tell me that he just be watching straight up vanilla porn because y'all know he had a porn addiction. So I would not be surprised he'd be sitting up there watching homosexual stuff too. And he got some repressed feelings that he doesn't feel like he man enough to want to reenact or fulfill those fantasies. But quiet as it's kept, what desperate homosexual want to sleep with a Koonye? He ain't cute. He's shaped like an old baked potato that's been left out in the sun too damn long. So who trying to hunch him? So I say all this the same. I hope that Jay and Bay clean his ass out, file legal papers, because Jay, that same energy you have for them people that, you know, Tony Busby and all of them that was out here accusing you of assaulting a 12-year-old at a party, you need to have that same energy when it comes to your kids. Because trust and believe, if you out here spreading defamation, you know, if you out here with this whole defamation of character stuff, you spreading false information about my children, and you saying disgusting things about me, trust and believe, I am suing you for slander. You need to do to him what Cardi B did to Trashy K. Clean his ass out. Take his ass to court and show him that you want to know something. You want to run around here acting like you a god and you Michelangelo and you all these other people that you will never be because you think your talent is up there with these geniuses. But real geniuses don't call themselves a damn genius. Then I'm going to clean your ass out like a genius. I'm going to leave your ass broke. And that's what Jay-Z and Beyonce do. Not that they need the money, but it's on principle, like with Cardi B and Trashy K. I'm not suing you because I need your money. I got enough money. You take a shit in the toilet, it'd be $4 million floating up in there with it. So I could wipe my ass with $4 million a day. But I'm showing you, don't fuck with me because I'm going to clean your ass out. You keep running off with your mouth, I'm going to clean you out. And that's what Jay and Bay need to do to him. And the thing that I don't understand is, if it wasn't for Jay-Z in so many ways, you wouldn't have the career that you have. Because when he came out, being a producer behind the scenes, and then he came out with his music, College Dropout, Late Registration, he was under the Rock Nation, you know, Rockefeller Records umbrella. He was producing stuff for Jay and all of them. He was working with Dame Dash. So I'm not taking away from Kanye's talent because he is talented in some ways, minus when you take away the stupid rants. But Jay-Z put him on. And somebody and having that ability to get put on because you are part of the Rockefeller umbrella. Now you out here doing all of this because he don't want to play patty cake with your ass and don't want to help you out with whatever situation you got going on with Kim. That ain't got nothing to do with him. Take that up in family court. He's not a lawyer. He doesn't work with all that stuff. So if you need help with your kids, you got enough money, hire an attorney that can help you get whatever you need to get out of them damn Kardashians. But like I said, you made your bed, you lie in it. With the stuff that's going on with Kim and her family, and whatever repercussions you about to receive from not keeping the Carter Knowles family name out your damn mouth. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Do you think that Jay and Bay should take legal action against Koonye for saying what he had to say about their children? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Who child the ghetto? The backs are blacks. Yes, they got their the backs are black people. If that's what you're referring to, I said Miley Cyrus and her dead pets is my favorite. I know it's something with a pet. Favorite Miley album, one of my favorite albums ever. Unfortunately, Miley doesn't do. I cannot with the emojis because I gotta figure out what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Rhymes with hugs. So we'll probably never get another album like that. But we'll say Plastic Hearts, on the other hand, was that the name of the album, the last one she came out with? Because I don't remember. All I know was Flowers was on it. I listened to the album once. I got bored halfway through. But I like Flowers. We'll talk about that tomorrow, like I said. Robert F. Kennedy, Make America Healthy Again. Yeah. That's all they do. They just sit and colonize everything somebody else has already done and bring healthy school lunches. And aren't they cutting all of that? They're cutting everything. So Robert F. Kennedy trying to act like he doing something. You ain't doing shit. And I did cackle over that JD Vance leaked audio going in on Elon Musk, which goes to show that, yes, there was some infighting going on between them. And now the audio leaked. It's all over social media. I posted on my Facebook. I should have posted on my other avenues too. I should have posted on the Twitter. Maybe I'll do that later. Plastic Hearts was the okay. That's why I was like, look, I like Miley's music. but I wouldn't be able to tell you which album is which because I'm just a casual listener. I'm not like a big Miley fan. Okay, so but now that we got all that negative Knowles, Koonye mess out of the way, let's get into some positive news. So congratulations to Mama Tina, who is being all demure and mindful with her response to Koonye and all that other stuff, and rightfully so. She's like, you're not going to have me compromise my Christianity over your buffoonery, but she's the Billboard's about to roll out the red carpet because we're about to get their Woman in Music ceremony, and Beyonce's mother, along with Solange's mama, because Beyonce and Solange, that's their mother. She brought all this amazing talent. And they said that she will receive a special honor at this year's Billboard Woman in Music event. Now, Knowles will be the first ever Mother of the Year honoree at the event, taking place live at the YouTube Theater in Inglewood, California on March 29th. Knowles is gearing up to head out on a book tour this spring in support of her upcoming memoir, Fittingly Tired Matriarch, out April 22nd. The 9-city book tour launches in Washington, D.C. on April 30th with special guest of former First Lady Michelle. See, now, didn't I say she was being all demure mindful or taking the high road like Michelle Obama? But apparently, she's going to be the special guest. And they said that Michelle Obama is joining Knowles as the evening's moderator. The press tour will conclude on June 4th in London. So hold on, because I want to pull up the poster, the full poster of Miss Tina and, this accolade that she's about to receive. So the 2025 Billboard Woman in Music event, hosted by Laverne Cox, will recognize music's top female artists, producers, and executives for its contributions to music industry, their communities, and beyond. Now, Doechii is the 2025 Woman of the Year recipient, just 2 years after she was given the Rising Star honor in 2023. Now, additional honorees include aespa Group of the Year, Angela Aguilar Breakthrough Award, Erykah Badu Icon Award. Which, sidebar, did y'all hear that Erykah Badu is about to release a brand new album? I think she's working on it with The Alchemist, who I used to love back in the day when I was like a huge, like one of those hip hop heads. Like I used to love The Alchemist because Alchemist is like underground hip hop. So I heard that Erykah Badu is working on a new album, and I believe this is her first album in 15 years. So I'm actually excited to hear what she's coming out with. Now they have also Glorilla Powerhouse Award, Gracie Abrams Songwriter of the Year, Jenny Global Force Award, Megan Moroney Rule Breaker Award presented by Crown Royal Whiskey, Megan Trainor, who lost a whole lot of weight by the way, Hitmaker Award, Money Long Rising Star Award presented by Honda Stage, and Make Me Sweat on Tyler with the Impact Award presented by Bose. What impact? She only had like one song that everybody's still talking. Well, we ain't really talking about water, but what she came out with following that. But if y'all need to fill a quota, go ahead. Now, the 2025 Women in Music Awards will stream on March 29th live on Vizio Watch Free Plus at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. I don't know what that is. I don't have a Vizio. I don't know what that streaming service is, but if you want to get tickets, you can go to my website, chrisavalon.com, and purchase it there because I do have the link. And they said, but if you want more information, go to billboardwomaninmusic.com. So congratulations, Mama Tina, on this accolade and winning this exciting award. Now it'll be interesting to see, like, okay, so now that you started this whole trend with mothers of famous superstars, then we're gonna keep this trend going. And who's gonna receive the award next year? I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of any other celebrities whose parent is as hands-on with their kids' career like Tina was and like Mathew was. Like Mathew was the manager, Tina was working behind the scenes doing the girls' costumes with the House of Diarrhea. And so when you had all of that, it was cute. And the costumes was a choice, but I get it. It was girl group. It was giving very much Drag Race on a budget with a lot of the looks, but it worked for them at the time with Drag Race, with the beginnings of Destiny's Child's career until they got a little more coin and then they could afford like better fashions, better stage clothes, and things of that nature. So I loved how very much hands-on that the Knowles was. I mean, I was gonna say who's gonna win next year? Not Justin Bieber mother. Or things or something like that, but whatever. So I want to hear from y'all. What do y'all think of this recent story of Tina Knowles being honored as Mother of the Year at 2025 Billboard Woman in Music? I'm sure the clips and everything will end up on social media. We can watch it that way because I don't know nothing about no Vizio network streaming channel. I got too many damn streaming services out here. I can't keep up no more. They're getting too expensive. I'm not subscribing to another thing just so that way I can see some type of situation. But when it ends up on social media and stuff, and I watch the clips, I'll bring it up on here and we'll talk about it. So I want to hear from you all. What do you think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. You said Vizio is a brand. Well, I know that it's a brand of TVs because I'm trying to remember. I think my parents had a Vizio at one point. Maybe I should have elaborated on that more. Like I know the Vizio, what that is. That's a brand of TV, kind of like a Toshiba or like a Sony or whatever. I have a Sony TV, um, but I didn't know they had their own channel. And I use Roku, so that's mostly like what I have. Because there was a brand of TVs owned by Walmart. They have their own free streaming service, so I don't know how to feel about Billboard teaming up with a not a no more DEI store chain. Okay. Especially when when they're very diverse over there they're the way they're showing it with Billboard. So yeah, that is a good question. But I did not know that Vizio was specifically geared towards Walmart. And I didn't know that, well, with that, they come with a streaming service. You know what? I wish that all these things would do that because I was saying that too. Like, you know what, Apple, if you're an Apple user, like if you have like a Apple Watch, an iPhone, all other stuff, why do we have to pay for Apple based stuff? Why do I have to pay for Apple TV Plus? Why do I have to pay for the Apple Music streaming service? Like all of that should be free. And that should all come in with the package. So I don't know why I gotta pay for it. It's the same thing like with that. If Vizio was giving out y'all own free streaming service, I feel like all of that should kind of apply. Or am I bugging? I have a Vizio so I can watch it. It seems Walmart paid $500 million to be the exclusive partner of any and all. Oh, I didn't watch that. I mean, I didn't know that. Got it back in 2020 when it was, well, you said when it was a huge platform. Okay. All right, y'all. So let's move on, chair. Where we going? All right, so let's get into this mess. So, you know, Tamar, Kandi, still going at it. So, y'all already know a couple of weeks ago, some footage of Tamar leaked where she was going in on Kandi Burruss and Todd Tucker's restaurant chain, Old Lady Gang. The video leaked. People wasn't really talking about it. They were like, why y'all bringing this up? It's old. I don't know if that footage actually came out 3 years ago, but it resurfaced again, or the fact that it was recorded 3 years ago, the show never happened, so they shelved it and someone leaked it. So I don't necessarily know what the history behind it is because I would have remembered if that footage came out 3 years ago. So I think what happened was, yeah, it was filmed 3 years ago. Tamar said what she said. She was probably in her, she was, I think around that time she was in her feelings about her and Kandi were not getting along. Their relationship has kind of been on again, off again. There was a situation that happened behind the scene, backstage at some show that I think that Kandi was doing. That was when Miss Mamas was there, Latasha, I believe, that they were still torn and Tasha was being Tasha before I think the reality show. I think it might have been around the time of the reality show. But anyway, that doesn't all I'm trying to think of the timeline, but it don't really matter. So or to help it like with the narrative and help it make sense. But with all that being said, the footage came out a couple of weeks ago with Tamar saying what she said. Now, in case y'all don't remember, of course, I got to come with the receipts for shits and giggles and for entertainment purposes. So, Tamar said the following. Please hold, and we'll come back and we'll talk.
Nobody has yet to say how nasty Old Lady Gang is. Nobody. Why? And that is a known thing here in Atlanta. Like if something like nobody is saying, "Yeah, where we going to go eat? Let's go to Old Lady Gang." Who? Oh, steak from Blaze was banging. What's the name of the person? Where they at? Now let's just be honest. Are we being honest? Is we everybody got their head down. See everybody, y'all scared too? Listen, because I'm just being honest. This is what the premise of the show is. Now y'all done read She by Sheree. The lady done called the girl Sheen by Sheree. The lady done dragged that lady till her wig came unglued on the side. Okay? But nobody said how terrible the service is at Old Lady Gang. And if your food come out cold, you got to pay for it anyway. And if your food is wrong, you got to pay for it anyway. Nobody has yet.
All right. So that was the clip of what she said. And I'm wondering if this is around the time they were trying to create a version of TGIF. Because, TGIF was popping back then until that mess went and happened between Claudia Jordan, Al You Doing, and Armand Wiggins. So it kind of made me wonder. It was like, yeah, because it was, TGIF was a successful show over there on the YouTube and Fox Soul that they were trying to create another version. And I guess maybe it wasn't working. Because, yet again, Tamar up here trying to act like a homosexual trapped in the body of a black woman. And, she do take a lot of our isms. She's openly admitted it. Even most recently, when she did the thing with Craig and the fag talk and all the other stuff. I use that fag talk. So I was trying to act like a fag. And I was like, bitch, not all of us act like that. So stop. And quiet as it's kept, a lot of the gay shows that you see or are fronted by homosexuals, like if you watch, well, I don't know. I think like for here, it's even killed. I know I get women that watch this show, but I get a lot of guys that watch the show, surprisingly. But but not that I want y'all to go away. Stay. Don't go nowhere. I love all of y'all. But I think like when you look at like a TGIF, when you look at a Funky Dineva, or you look at a lot of these black homosexual pundits, they get more or less women that watch them and a very few guys. But I notice I get more men that watch the show than women. And I'll look at the demographics. What are you doing? Maybe because y'all want, I don't know, maybe y'all want to hunch me or something. Okay, let me stop being messy. But with all of this being said, her show or whatever, I don't know what the show was, what it was about. All I know is this clip was floating around and she had to get on social media. Hence, thank you to Jasmine Brand for having this clip where she had to go on and pretty much clean up and say, this was old. It was 3 years ago. I don't know why it's coming up. Some of the words of Dorinda.
I didn't just talk about Nobody's Nothing. That's like 3 years old. Y'all gotta chill. Do y'all listen? And I don't care enough. I don't. I mean, listen, let me tell you something. I don't know why y'all be acting like I'm a child. I am not a child. And at that time, that was like at the height of our beef. And I was pissed because her and her husband lied like a rug. And it was a show that I was going to do. And then I decided not to, because that's just not where, I'm going. You know what I mean? Like, but if she wants to say something, she can say something. She shouldn't care, because I don't. It's so old. I didn't just talk about Nobody's Nothing. That's like 3 years old. Y'all got nobody has yet.
Okay.
So
that was pretty much it. So then after that, Kandi recently did an interview with ET's Bryce Sander, and she discussed her time on The Housewives and producing Othello on Broadway with Denzel Washington. And this is what I was going to say, this way she winning. Like, don't even pay attention to all this drama. And I think that's why she's been doing the rounds, because she and Todd are a producer on Othello, which premiered last night. Jake Gyllenhaal's in it. Denzel Washington's in it. Everybody who's anybody was at this event. Jennifer Lopez was there with her child Emmy. Spike Lee was there with his wife. There was a lot of celebrities. And that's another topic that we have coming up later on in the show, where I can go down the whole list of who was there. But it was like a who's who of A-list talent showed up on the red carpet for this show. So it was a packed house. And I'm hearing like this show is doing fairly well. Like they're already sold out for a while. And I want to get tickets to the show because I don't know how long it's going to be, but I definitely want to check it out. So So basically, she discussed the reality TV spinoff about her family restaurant, Kandi and the Gang, because it's like, I don't know what's happening with that. She said that they may be looking at shopping it to another network, because I think Bravo was going to do something with it at one point, and now I don't think it's happening. So she said that they might go somewhere else. So, I'm sorry, Bravo canceled it apparently, but she said they might reboot it on another network. Well, if y'all do, I need you to explain what's going on with Blaze. Why y'all closed? Why are you being sued for not paying your rent and all the other things that was going on at this establishment? So if you're going to reboot this show, ma'am, I need you to let us know what's the tea. Now tell me what's the tea. What's the tea? Now tell me what's the tea. We want to know. Now, apparently they said things went a little left when Sandra asked her if she would welcome Tamar as a special guest on the series, which what I'm hearing is he was told not to bring it up, and he brought it up anyway. I said, well, let me tell you, I'm trying to be messy over there, ET, because I understand a lot of y'all legacy media people, especially in the gospel space, y'all are now competing with us. Because quiet as it's kept, a lot of y'all commentary is a little dry. Y'all be over here worrying more or less about, because we need those big A-list celebrities to keep coming on and doing interviews with us. So we're not going to go a little hard on them about stuff. We're going to tiptoe around things, and we're not going to ask y'all the questions that everybody want to know. Whereas we're over here saying stuff within reason, and because we got rules, we ain't all trying to be Tasha Cade out here by spreading false information and inaccuracies. So we're a little edgier when it comes to the delivery on certain things. But here's what she had to say. So now you know, of course, I told you I was coming with the receipts. So here's the clip, and then we'll talk.
Doing another season, but then I don't know, it didn't come together. So Todd and I are still thinking about doing it somewhere else.
Okay, you can bring it back. You got all those restaurants. And you can, invite Tamar on to.
You will not be bringing her in my interview.
Nobody is saying, yeah, where we going to go eat? Let's just go to Old Lady Gang. Who?
Can you believe that she's still on you?
I'm not playing games with clowns. Like, I'm not gonna be in the circus with you, sweetheart. Like, we're not doing that ever again.
Love that.
As far as
so she basically said what she said. She said, I'm not getting in the I'm not gonna be playing around with these clowns. And I'm not just giving her the time of day or the energy, and that's good on her. Like I said, at the end of the day, Kandi out here living her best life. She's got a lot of endeavors, the businesses. I don't know what's going on with the restaurants. Everybody been saying the restaurants are a mess. What I've heard is that it's a tourist attraction. People who actually reside in Atlanta ain't really going out and eating that Old Lady Gang. It looked like, from what we saw, that Blaze has been closed down. So I don't know what's going on with that. She's being sued over some stuff that was going on with that. I believe we did talk about that a couple of weeks ago. So she's got a lot of, this is why I say, if y'all not familiar with getting in the hospitality business, please don't get into in the hospitality business. I worked in the restaurant, bar, nightlife, all the other scenes. So I understand that world. But if this is not something that you are familiar with, do not jump in an industry that you know nothing about, because 9 times out of 10, a lot of places like the restaurant hospitality business, a lot of them don't last a year. So if you don't understand this world, don't jump into it. But it felt like Kandi was just trying to jump on a whole bunch of other stuff because she was looking to get that bag. But you got to realize, it ain't easy trying to maintain working, having a hospitality type of situation, especially if you have restaurant, a hotel entry, whatever you decide, a bed and breakfast, whatever you decide to open. So with all that being said, Tamar also did clap back at this other thing and decided to post on social media something where I can't remember exactly what she said, but she posted a picture of a video of Kandi sounding off key with her singing. And now we already know, over the years, Kandi is not the best singer. We know that when it comes to Escape, Kandi do her thing, but she is not Tamika and Latasha Scott in regards to the vocals. She ain't even, well, she is about a half octave higher, better than Jennifer Lopez, but Kandi ain't the best singer. Every man loves a woman. She do her thing, whatever. But she, she's not the one that delivers all the yang yang. We don't go to Kandi for the yang yang. Kandi's a good businesswoman. Kandi do what she do in regards of Escape, but we don't go for her for the solo singing stuff. We know that's not her wheelhouse. But to me, the singing read is tired, Tamar, especially when you are mostly known for your antics than your singing. So I don't understand why you out here trying to give a singing read. It's tired, it's old, it's late, it's through, it's delayed. Just like all the things you were being with this response. And then I heard she posted it and deleted it. But I'm sick of y'all when y'all do that. If y'all gonna be shady, stand on your shadiness. Keep it up. I'm not taking no shit down. If I'm reading a bitch down to the floor, I'm not taking it down. I want all y'all to read it. I'm not gonna put something up and then take it down because I'm worried about what y'all think. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna say and whatever I want to say. And if you piss me off, if I took all that time and effort to put that little meme together, to put that video up, I can take it down. After 30 seconds of it being there, you always know whenever it's up there, it's up there. Ain't nobody, somebody will always find the clip and keep it going and say, oh, so and so responded, and here we go with the mess. But it's like, look, you can throw your little shade or whatever, but like I said, Kandi is out here winning. She's producing Othello. Othello's a big hit already. She's got A-list talent working on this thing. And what are you doing? Sitting in the back of a fag talk event in New York, trying to read Craig down and being bitter about it, and then decided to double down on another podcast and say, well, I thought we was on fag talk, so I'm trying to act like a fag. No, be yourself, sis. We don't need to try to act like what you think gay men act like. And you a guest and another thing is you a guest in the household. So just because you around a bunch of faggots don't necessarily mean you gotta act like what you think a faggot is. You need to kind of come in and just be yourself, because now you up in here being performative, you being fake, and I can't be around that. Sidebar, shout out to Tawanda, who I heard got married, her sister, and I heard you wasn't even at the wedding. So I am wondering if this was filmed for the Braxton season 2, and we'll get an explanation as to why Miss Tamar didn't come to the wedding. Because we already know, like, Tamar and Tawana don't have the best relationship. Quiet as it's kept. I mean, it ain't really that quiet. We did talk about it the other day. Her and Tony got into it to the point where she blocked Tony on her Instagram, she said. And Tony was like, well, damn, I was trying to repost the picture of the video or whatever, and you have me blocked. Anyway, happy birthday, sis. And then Tamar out here saying, oh, here you go gaslighting. You could have called me. You up in here trying to talk about, oh, I blocked you, reigniting drama because you want the people to jump in the comments. Now you inviting everybody into the group chat, and now there's drama when they don't need to be. So that's where all that comes from. So, yeah, Kandi, don't worry about her. I know you had to address it because that queen over there at ET was being messy. But nevertheless, you said what you said. No, she said what she said. You responded to it. I don't care if it was 6 years old. If I'm just now hearing about it and it's brought up and somebody's asking me the question, I'm answering it. And that's what irritates me about people. It's 3 years old. Why are you bringing it up? Because I was asked about it. It's the same thing about when people get on Pink about bringing up the thing about Christina. They asked me about it. What I'm supposed to say? Stop asking me that question? If you ask me about it, how I felt at the time, this is how I felt at the time. I moved on. I'm not in that. We're not in that space no more. Now I need y'all to put this to bed. We done moved on from it. It is what it is. But people always get mad when you want to bring stuff up. But if it's like, yeah, it was 3 years old, I'm just now finding out about it because it was in a vault and the show didn't happen, I'm going to respond to it because nobody's heard my response. And I'm not getting into bed with this clown. Because, and at one point, I'm sorry, Tamar, but sis, there needs to come a point in time where you have to take responsibility for the things you say and do too. Because it always seems like to me, you are the common denominator in all the drama. When it comes to your sisters, when it comes to the stuff with Craig that happened recently, and they spent like 5 minutes talking about it over on there on Fag Talk. Shout out to him and Miss T.S. Madison, where he had to talk about it. And because the people, we needed that response. And he didn't give more of the same diplomatic response that he gave on his own live, that I'm glad that we kind of got down to the rooter and the tutor of it over on Fag Talk. And you had the drama with that. You were always in the middle of some drama with a lot of people. You had the drama with K. Michelle. K. Michelle called your ass a Muppet. You ran off in tears. Now you over here getting into it with your sisters. You're getting into it with Kandi. You always into some shit with somebody. At one point, you got to come and be like, okay, maybe you are the problem. Don't Taylor Swift have a song called I'm the Problem? Oh no, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. Is me. Yeah, that's her song. But anyway, I say, let's say, what do you guys think of this song, this story in regards to Tamar and Kandi and this whole drama? So, whatever your thoughts are on this situation, let me know in the comments down below. When DEI wasn't a bad thing, it seemed to be a bad thing when Biden was president. We've always had diversity in the world. I don't know why people are trying to act like this is new. I just feel like the reality is a lot of these people that are upset, you know, i.e. white folks, are mad because they're no longer at the top of the food chain, that things haven't just been handed down to them on a silver platter, that they have to now work for things. Now, all of a sudden, it's DEI and all this other mess. Tonight, an investigation discovery. Oh, so now it's finally coming out, the Stephen Collins thing. We talked about it on the show. And I heard that he's in his 70s, and his wife is 30 years younger. I think is 30 or 40 years younger than him. So he got him a little young thing, a tenderoni, and he's 70 something years old. I'm like, look, first of all, you was out here diddling with young girls, and you married to a young woman. So I wonder when you actually married her. So yeah, I want to see that. I got to see the one with the Power Rangers. I got to see the one with the troubled child. So I'm definitely gonna be watching it. I don't know if it actually comes on tonight on HBO Max, or I have to wait till tomorrow, because sometimes the streaming services be doing that. But I'll check. And you want something? I heard that Jason London, or was it Jeremy London that was on the show, was out here talking about, regardless of all the other stuff, I still want him to be my TV dad. And I'm sure there's people out here that say the same shit about Bill Cosby. The dad of the Camden family, basically, one actor was really successful. Are you talking about Jessica Biel? Was the only actor that was successful, destroyed a popular show with millennials, even they weren't religious. Yeah, because the funny part was, I grew up watching Seventh Heaven. Like I told you, I was a WB CW faithful. Like I was literally watching all this because I was like, oh look, a channel for my generation to sit and watch. We had Seventh Heaven, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Felicity. We had all those shows, and I'm like, oh, a show I could actually, a channel that's actually for my generation that we could watch. And I watched Seventh Heaven. It was like feel good family TV. And then come to find out the tea about Stephen Collins. Hollywood Demons. Yeah, we talked about it on the show. It's a whole segment. I have it up on the channel for those of you who have not seen that, by the way. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing that. All right, so now let's move on, y'all. And let's, while I just got finished windmilling on Tamar with her drama with Kandi, now we got to get into this tea about her revealing that she's taking HIV prevention medication PrEP while she's navigating through the often shaky dating scene in Atlanta. And my thing in the beginning was, girl, you live in Atlanta. Of course you taking PrEP. I mean, you'd be a fool not to. But I don't know. People were acting like this was a strange thing. I'm like, y'all do know that HIV is not a gay disease. So I don't know this misinformation that people are running around with. If y'all still think in 2025 that only homosexuals be getting the HIV and AIDS, when quiet as was kept, the virus is outranking, is higher amongst Black women than they are gay men. Y'all really need to read a book, get your statistics together, and actually understand what's going on in regards to HIV. And look, now we got this idiot in chief, and them talking about they trying to cut HIV funding. So I told them we in danger. Now I got the clip of Tamar on Instagram revealing that, yeah, she does take PrEP. And from me working at ACQC in Queens, A Center, Queens County, and doing community outreach. I started doing a lot of that when I was younger, that I would actually go to gay clubs and bars. And that was also my way I was getting paid. And number two, it was my end of getting into a lot of the bars without having to pay. So I was doing HIV prevention where I would talk to the homosexuals and everybody else who was in there, because not all the gays were just going up in the bars. Like, I was literally giving out condoms, and it had the information in English and Spanish, because in Jackson Heights is predominantly a Spanish area. So I was doing a lot of HIV prevention, and people need to understand that undetectable means untransmittable. So yeah, you can have sex, protected or unprotected, with someone who is HIV positive, but if they're undetectable, they cannot spread the virus to you. Also, you know, I was giving out all this information to a lot of the people so that way they could understand what was going on in their own community. And it wasn't just men that we were giving it to, we were giving it to women as well. Like, we had dental dams and all kinds of other stuff that we was giving women, female condoms, all the other stuff, so that way they could understand like how to, and look, I understand a lot of people don't like the feeling of sex with condoms, me being one of them, hence why PrEP and PEP. And then they have that, damn, what is that other drug? I can't think of it off the top of my head. That is like, it's kind of like a morning after pill for men. Like, if you do have unprotected sex, you take a drug the next day that you can prevent yourself from getting it, whatever. So there's all different things and ways that you can prevent yourself from getting HIV and AIDS, and getting educated is definitely one of the most important things. So yes, we also encourage that women should take PrEP. It's not only just for men. And there are women out here that I know that take it. So Tamar saying this, I think it's great on her part, but we have the clip. Let's hear it come from her mouth, and then we'll come back and talk. Please hope.
I ain't for the outside. And I know it. And the reason why I know it is because I'm not going for what everybody else is going for. I'm just not going to do that. Dog, like, all of y'all is dating the same dude. Like, y'all is sharing the same dude. Like, it's giving Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like, what's the name of the day that you got him? And then when you get him, you got to sign an NDA. So nobody know you dating the same dude. Dog, signing an NDA to date a regular person is crazy. And then it's like, I'm not finna, like, my time is precious. So it's given like, is my time not precious enough for you one-on-one? Y'all don't want to date one-on-one. Y'all want to date 30 people, everybody on your roster at the same time. Like, what is we supposed to go on a trip and then you come back home and take somebody to dinner? What that look like? Or you buy 4 Birkins in different colors and everybody get a Birkin? I don't know. I'm different, like, because I am a wife. I'm not a girlfriend. You're not finna introduce me. Hey, this is Tamar. This is my girlfriend, Tamar. No, you're my friend. You're my friend, dog. Like, what are you talking about, Willis? So they just not for me, because I'm not going along with y'all rules. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna do that. I'm a one-woman man, and I ain't sharing my man with the streets.
Well, good luck trying to find a one-on-one man in Atlanta in 2025. Okay, I mean, look, but I'm here for you to doing the whole PrEP thing, but your ideology around like what you looking for in a relationship, girl, that's why you're gonna remain single for the rest of your life. But anyway, so some of the people in the comments say you're the first celebrity Black woman I've heard mention PrEP, and I am so amazed. Don't let the uneducated people get to you. I support you, Queen. As do I, and that's why I said it's vitally important that yes, I'm glad that we have somebody who's a celebrity speaking on this, and I do feel like more people should get themselves educated on it, and I do believe, that more women should get on PrEP. Someone also said, but wasn't she just sharing the same man not that long ago with Miss Tommy? Talking about Colonel Sanders, the white man that she was dating on that reality show with Nivea and Evelyn Lozada, that they was having all that drama with. We refer to him as Colonel Sanders. And I think at one point, Carlos King interviewed him. So another person said, everyone really does need to be on PrEP at this point. Another person said, I don't think I've seen a hetero cis woman openly admit to being on PrEP. Kudos to you for sharing and letting people know women also have different options to protect themselves. Exactly. And not rely on heterosexual men to be telling you on a way in a prayer, oh yeah, I'm clean, or I'm because when you ask, and I know a lot of people don't ask, and I know saying are you clean is kind of a disgusting derogatory, like it makes people uncomfortable when you say that, because it makes it seem like HIV and AIDS is a nasty thing, it's gross, or whatever the case is. But a lot of y'all be putting yourselves at risk all the time when it comes to sex. It's just when somebody openly admits, and I've been in situations where and this was like when I was younger and I was ignorant, where I had guys tell me, like, I would hook up with dudes and they would tell me, like, I'm HIV positive, and I would go back to their house and I would try to get it up from them, because as a top, you trying to get it up. And I remember one time, and it was just like kind of hurtful in a way, but the guy understood. I was just like, it just wasn't getting up for him, because in my mind, I'm thinking the worst of the worst in regards of, I'm someone who's negative, that's having sex with an HIV positive guy who is undetectable. And this is when I didn't understand all of what that meant. But once I got educated, the more you know, the better that you are understanding of a lot of the situations that's going on. So what's the other comment said? Now, they said, PrEP goes crazy, you need help. What does that even mean? PrEP goes crazy, you need help. Goes crazy for what? Then they keep throwing this whole thing about, oh wait, somebody said time for you to move from Lemon Pepper Island. Is that supposed to be a gay thing when y'all talk about Lemon Pepper Island? Okay, what the hell is MAGA terrorist got to do with anything? Weren't you doing that with that white man? Another person said, you need to move. I keep telling you that, sister. Yeah, well, if you think you're going to find you a good man, Savannah, and a heterosexual one in Atlanta, sis, you do need to move. So she said, Tamar, abstinence is a great idea for you to adapt. It's not hard, especially you have been down some rocky roads. Just saying. Well, my thing is, if you feel like you got to get right within yourself before you can even be trying to incorporate any kind of man in your life. And we've been talking about how Tamar just seemed like her spirit, everything. She keeps saying, oh yeah, I'm fine, I'm great, I have great people around me and stuff. I don't believe it. She says all of this, but I'm not believing. I'm not feeling her, and her energy is saying otherwise. Because if you haven't gotten right with a lot of the things that's going on in your personal life, with your family, with certain people, and all this other stuff, I don't feel like that you truly found your true center in regards of where you welcome the right people. Because when your energy is right, you welcome the right people in your life, meaning relationships, friendships, all that other stuff. Not yes people, not a bunch of homosexuals that sit there, all that other mess, being around them femme queens all day. With how you were doing what you was doing with Craig. So I'm not buying that she's fully realized and centered in who she is as a woman before her to be at a place where she wants to get in any kind of relationship. But like I said, I don't know. I don't know of how she's going to try to get in a relationship with someone who is a one-on-one and loves her for her. Because she'd be difficult to possibly get in a relationship with based off of her track record and the type of men that she has called in her life, from Vince, from the African, and from Colonel Sanders. So I don't know. So Tamar, I love the fact that you're using PrEP. And because you probably at a point where it's just like, you know what, I'm just trying to get my back blown out. Fuck a relationship. And yeah, the candy coated toys ain't enough to get my rocks off. So I need a little flesh in between my legs, and as Funky Don even said, in between my legs and in my butt. So I just feel like at this point, I'm glad you're taking the PrEP. I'm glad you're preparing yourself for HIV prevention. More people need to get educated, specifically in the Black community and Black women and gays. Some of y'all need to get educated a little more as well in regards of HIV prevention and understanding like how you need to better protect yourselves. And some of you straight men, y'all need to be out here making sure that y'all, if you're going to be laying down with Tom, Dick, and Harry, that y'all are out here getting your HIV test. If y'all end up with an STI or 3, that y'all actually getting that cleared up before y'all go piping down the next one. Because it's real rough in these streets. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story in regards to what Tamar had to say about her taking PrEP in 2025? Especially with her living in good old Atlanta. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. You know what? Not Janice. Look, how many people are gonna call Janice from the Muppets? I'm like, Tamar look like her. We got Candy girl from Escape, Tiny. Who else? It's a lot of y'all running around here looking like Janice from the Muppets. But anyway, the shade. All right, y'all. So let's move on. Let's talk about Miss Jennifer Lopez. But before we get into this Miss Jennifer story regarding what she's looking for, speaking of looking for a good man, Savannah, I should say, let's give her a little props before we talk about her relationship woes. So Jennifer was at this event yesterday where she was with her child Emmy at the premiere for Othello. Now, I know some people kept saying her daughter, her daughter, her daughter. Here's what people need to understand. Emmy identifies as non-binary. Therefore, they do not go by she, her pronouns. They go by they pronouns. So that's why if you notice in a lot of stories, they refer to Emmy as Jennifer Lopez's child, who is 17, by the way. I'm like, damn, where did the time go? So, and we don't see Max, which word on the street is, that same stuff about Koonye talking about Rumi's twin brother, Sir. Word on the street is that Max might be a little autistic, but if he is, which is why we don't see him a lot in the spotlight. But if that is his situation, that's between him and the whole whatever. That's why some people have been saying that's why he don't want to be in the spotlight. But anyway, so Lopez, or as I like to call her, Jennifer, who's 55, and Emmy, 17, flashed wide smiles as they posed for photos at the opening night of Othello on Sunday, March 23rd. So they were at, the New York City's Barrymore Theater. Every celebrity you could think of was all there. I heard that Mark Anthony and his wife was all damn near hunching each other at some event. I think they were at some sports event or whatever. But he got to keep her fertile if he want to keep having like a tribe of children. I think he's trying to catch up with Elon Musk and the other one, Nick Cannon. So they said that Jennifer, stunned in a deep navy two-piece by Zuhair Murad Couture. She's always wearing Zuhair Murad. Emmy, meanwhile, donned a gray pinstripe suit paired with drop earrings. Now, Emmy, who has a brother named Max, also featured in an Instagram story post about Lopez that evening, saying, "I have the most amazing date for the premiere of Othello, the black tie premiere of Othello here in New York tonight." Lopez said into the camera from the back seat of her ride. I was like, do I even have that story? Oh no, it's wait, let me see. Because it says Kiss of the Spider Woman dancer. Oh, this is something else. This is the Kiss of the Spider Woman thing. And now she's showing like her career spanning she's giving us cheeks. First of all, Jennifer Lopez, ever since she's been on this diet, whatever, her ass has gotten a lot smaller, or is it just me? Oh yeah, there she is in the back with her child, and they're dancing and kikiing to Doshi and all that other stuff. Hold on, because now I don't need all my my Instagram stuff up in the background, because that ain't showing, my politics and things. But anyway, so you see Emmy out here taking pictures with her mother, looking good. We got some other pictures and stuff out here. It was a nice day in New York, although Sunday was kind of windy, and today it was raining. So, is it me, or does Emmy got her mama old nose, or their mother's old nose? I'm sorry. So yeah, there goes Jennifer in her usual looking little look. She did take the fur coat off at one point and pass it off to her coat check guy, Benny Medina, who then passed it off to someone else. That's her manager, because who else is Benny out here managing? So yeah, so to wrap this up, they said that their birthday is recent. They just turned 17, because I was like, their birthday is on February 23rd, because I didn't remember when their birthdays was. So yeah, the twins just turned 17. Now, celebrities that showed up, because Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal is in this iteration of Othello, which I need to go get tickets for. I need to go see that in Sunset Boulevard with Nicole Scherzinger, because I heard they added 6 more dates, and it's supposed to wrap up, I believe, in June or July. So I need to get tickets for that. But yeah, so Samuel L. Jackson was there, Anna Wintour, Jamie Lee Curtis, Ariana DeBose, Liam Shriver, Rosie Perez, Martha Stewart, and Spike Lee. And that's only a few. But there was a lot of celebrities that showed up. Hopefully with all these celebrities there, that there was actually room for us regular commoners to actually go see this show, because I definitely want to go check it out. So shout out to you, Jennifer. out here looking glamorous. Glamour. Show me the glamour. 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 Now, in other news, let's get to this story. So they talking about that Miss Hannaford, while she out here passing her child off as her date. So I guess some people could ask her, so when you getting a new man, Hannaford? When you getting yourself a new man, Savannah? She's out here saying that she's single and ready to mingle, allegedly, according to the reports. So Hannaford is looking in a new direction for love following her split from Ben Affleck, with sources exclusively telling In Touch that the diva wants a man who has nothing to do with Hollywood, saying, quote, believe it or not, Hannaford says she wants a regular Joe, a businessman or a blue-collar guy who's secure in himself. A guy who is strong in his convictions, someone who will make her feel special, safe, and secure. She's tired of being taken advantage of by men who wants the spotlight. But I ask you this. Now you say, according to the report, a guy who is strong in his convictions, someone who make her feel special, safe, and secure. Now, what are you offering? And I'm not talking about money and having me on the red carpet standing beside you like I'm a prop. What are you offering as a woman to this average Joe? And here's the thing. I'd be all for it. And I know a lot of people will say, well, she's already done that. No, she hasn't. If you're considering Chris Judd, Casper Smart as average Joes and Ohani Noah, no, they weren't average Joes. They were they were in the business in some capacity. Ohani was a struggling actor when she married him. That was the first husband. Chris Judd was a background singer who, I think she started having him do choreography and stuff. That marriage lasted not so long. And then Casper Smart, who she never married, he was a background dancer, and she started giving him a little more of a bigger role, in her musical endeavors, being sort of like the choreographer and that sort of thing. The Travis Wall of her, creative direction, her friend Gatson. So, she had all of that. So he's not an average Joe. We're talking about a dude that, who went to a trade school, who does plumbing, or like with Julia Roberts. Well, maybe that might not be a good idea, because Julia Roberts married a man who was a cameraman. He's an average guy. You don't see him. He's not in the spotlight, but he works behind the scenes. So maybe she needs that. But if she wants a regular guy, sis, maybe if you wasn't so rude and disrespectful to average people, according to the stories that we've heard about her, then she'd be able to accumulate an average Joe. But would an average Joe be willing to put up with being caught up in this storm of the Jennifer Lopez isms? Because say what you want about Ben Affleck, where, yes, he's an Oscar-winning filmmaker. He's an actor. I don't think he's ever won for acting, but he's gotten Oscars for directing. I like Ben Affleck. I'm looking forward to seeing the sequel to The Accountant, which I'm hearing great things about. I know they should have showed it at South by Southwest. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that whenever that comes out. I think it comes out next month. But in so many ways, even though he is an A-list actor, he is an average Joe. He doesn't like all the pomp and circumstance. He doesn't like the spotlight. He likes to make his movies. He likes to get the perks of what comes in Hollywood, but he's not out here running around on red carpets trying to show off, his Calvin Klein suit and wanting paparazzi up in his face all day. He don't like all of that. Jennifer Lopez likes all of that, based off of observation of what we see. So in a perfect world, I would love to see her with an average Joe, because maybe it's like, yeah. What I've heard from people is they said, like, the best thing for you if you're going to be in a relationship is to get with someone that is not trying to compete with you for the same occupation. If you're trying to get with somebody who's got just the same type of narcissistic endeavors or the same type of narcissistic qualifications as you, it's not going to work. I would never get in a relationship with someone, or maybe, who knows? Would I want to get in a relationship with somebody who is like trying to compete in the same space as I am? That's someone who is in the entertainment industry? I don't know if I would. I mean, I would sleep with somebody that was in the entertainment industry. There's a lot of trade running around. But would I want to marry somebody who is also an actor, or someone who does music, or someone who works in this? No, I don't know. I probably would fare better or as someone who works in business, or just like an average regular person. Because all this is fun. All this, I like doing all the entertainment news, all this other stuff, but this is not my whole life. I like when I'm done with this, I go about my business. I'm doing other things. I don't engulf myself in this because if you let this consume you, it will drive you nuts. You probably become Koonye, a damn lunatic who's trying to figure out where he fits in the world. Because when you pushing 50 and you can't even figure out, like, yeah, your clock on how you navigate through hip hop is kind of coming to a stalemate, and you trying to figure out where you navigate. But like with her, I feel like, you know, she did a thing with Ben. It didn't work. I don't know. I just feel like at the end of the day, Jennifer, what you need to do is work on yourself, figure out what you will and will not stand for. Don't get so wrapped up in the pomp and circumstance of this business. Excuse me. Exercise your ego and stop thinking it's all about you. And really find a way to balance your career with being in this relationship with this average Joe. This is what you're looking for. So they said, of course, she's working on her expectations as well. She requires a lot out of a romantic partner. That won't change, but she knows that her expectations can be overwhelming. She understands that she comes with a lot of baggage, which is why she's looking for a guy who will be open to discuss his insecurities and hers. I don't know how that sits with me. Because, okay, here's the thing. You can discuss your insecurities and her insecurities and work it on out. But I don't know if this whole thing of like, you want an average Joe to be able to tolerate your expectations, and that could be overwhelming for someone, especially when you're looking at an average person. When you look at the whole idea of Jennifer Lopez that's been created by, you know, her team of people, the glitz and the glamour and people who get caught up in that. I don't think the average person can deal with that. I don't know if they'll be able to. So unless you come to a place of, oh, this is all glam stuff. This is all because this is work. But you don't allow the work, the glam part of the job, to overtake your relationship, to push your man to the back where he's feeling inadequate and he's feeling insecure because he feels like, I'm just this regular dude. How do I measure up to all of this? Unless he's strong enough in his convictions to understand this is all a bunch of smoke and mirrors. This is all work. But you know how sometimes, you know, when it comes to the work, a lot of these celebrities get caught up in their little bubble and they forget this is all part of the job. This is not exactly like all of who I am. This is a part of who I am. I'm working. I don't get caught up in all this mess. Once, you know, I'm done with the red carpets and taking the pictures and all the other stuff, I'm back to just being Jenny from the block. You know that, or Jenny from the block. Because that's a perception of who she's trying to sell to the masses. But the question remains, are you really that girl? Are you Jenny from the block, or is this all just an image? Is this an act? So that's something that she has to reconcile with before she can try to get with an average Joe. So they said Jennifer hasn't said much about the breakup with Ben, but she did admit she felt lonely in one of her first interviews post-split, saying it feels unfamiliar, scary, it feels sad, it feels desperate. This is what she told Nikki Glazer in a sit-down interview for Interview magazine published in October of 2024, saying, but when you sit in those feelings and go, these things are not going to kill me. It's like, actually, I'm capable of joy and happiness all by myself. Being in a relationship doesn't define me. I can't be looking for happiness in other people, which I've been saying that for years. That it feels like that she be looking for love, looking penub in all the wrong places. You know, that's from the Little Rascals. But it's like, it doesn't look like she's been looking for love in all the wrong place. You're trying to find that love from other people. But in the words of Lauryn Hill, how you going to win when you ain't right within? So you got to look within yourself before you, or as RuPaul says, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell you going to love somebody else? So you got to find that love within you. You got to come to your own convictions. And then when you are right within you, can't nobody tell you nothing. And if a relationship never comes of whatever, like, I don't believe that relationships last forever. I look at it with relationships. I look at it with friendships. I look at everything. I believe that things are here for a reason and a season. I don't think everything's supposed to last forever. Things come and go just like people. But If I'm in the moment with that relationship, I'm not expecting a happily ever after. We just gonna have to take it day by day. And if that day by day turns from 6 weeks to 60 years, then so be it. But I feel like the way that we look at relationships and everything in that nature, things have changed. So as long as she has love from her family, her friends, and her kids, and if the love comes along with from that man, then that's great. But if you can't find that regular man that is going to give you the things that you're looking for in a relationship, then girl, here's the thing. You take your prep, like Tamar Braxton, or your condoms, whatever your preference is, and you have him clap them cheeks. And if you're not going to get the relationship, then look, at least get your back blown out. That's the least you could do. Or that's what I would just say. That's the least you could do in the meantime. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards of this story according to reports? And that report being In Touch Weekly, that Jennifer Lopez is looking for a regular man to clean her pipes and also hold her down in the process. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Lord Jesus. You said, I'm not sure who could put up with Jennifer. Okay? It says the problem with Jennifer is every day doesn't have to be an event, but there are men who might be down for that. Get with a guy who loves the culture. Well, yeah, there could be that. But it's like, yeah, I think with her, she thinks everything has to be like this big grandiose. And I think that's the point I was trying to get to. Like, everything does not have to be glitz and glamour and debonairness. Like, everything don't have to be like just evenings in San Tropez and we're kikiing on a yacht. Like, everything don't have to be grandiose. Because if that was the case, you could have just married Diddy. And we already know how that turned out. But, or what's happening with him. But if that's the kind of glamour lifestyle that you want, then you do that. But I don't know if you're going to find that with a average Joe. Unless, like you said, get with a guy who loves all of that, but is comfortable in his own skin on knowing what he is. Yeah, she could date a rich guy who isn't famous. I would say like a businessman, somebody who works behind the scenes, has got his own money, has got his own career, that owns a business. I don't know, cryptocurrency or whatever type of maybe she could date somebody on no, not Silicon Valley, because we hate them. Some of them oligarchs, but we don't hate them. It's like some of y'all that work out in Silicon Valley, y'all are the devil. We see how y'all trying to take over our government, but don't get you with Elon Musk, sis. Get you somebody that, is a businessman, has got his own money, and doesn't want to be a part of the spotlight. That's what you need to find. If I was an A-list celebrity like her, I would date someone who isn't famous either. That's what you need. That's why I said, like, if I was in a Jennifer Lopez situation, I would totally go the opposite. I don't want to compete with someone in the same field as me in regards of business and a relationship. It's kind of like I wouldn't want to marry someone who I work with. I don't know how that's working for Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos. Y'all work together and y'all live in the same house. Like, don't y'all get tired of seeing each other? It's kind of like that song from Pink, Give Me a Chance to Miss You. She wants a Brangelina relationship. Okay. We already know how that turned out, and they still can't stand each other. And the back and forth that they be going around, especially with that Chateau Miraval winery drama that they had. No, you don't. Trust and believe, you don't want a Brangelina type situation. Exactly, and she's like, when you gotta get content with that narcissism. So that's, I think, was what drives people away. The diva, narcissistic antics. These are not realistic relationships. Stick to background dealers or producers, but don't complain when they gotta work. Okay. An average Joe isn't going to help maintain her lifestyle. Not to mention, she will have more of an advantage. Exactly. And my thing is, and a lot of people, they always say, like, when you have like someone where you are the person in power, in a power situation where it's like, I'm the alpha female when I'm in business and everything, but when I'm home, it's like Wendy Williams. Let's use her as an example. Or there's a lot of other celebrities like her. But we also knew what her relationship turned out to be when she was married to that disgusting ass big kid. Child, I heard some tea. I don't know if this is true, but they were trying to say there's some story that was floating around that Sharina not only slept with Big Kev, but she slept with Lil Kev too, and said that Big Kev had the better stroke game. I'm like, first of all, you slept with the son and the father. You a nasty bitch. But that's the rumor that's going around. I don't know if it's true, but I heard that. But anyway, so Wendy Williams was like, you know what? When I'm the alpha female at home, you know, I mean, when I'm the alpha female, I'm the boss, I'm the businesswoman, I'm doing all the things. But when I come home, I want to be soft and pink. And I feel like there needs to be a point in your life, and I think some men are like that too, where it's just like, I want to come home and I want to just not have to be the alpha male all the time. I don't always want to have to dictate and have the control and tell people what to do. Sometimes you want to just not do that, because when I'm doing it for like 12 to 16 hours a day, the rest of them other 8 hours, can I just like relax? Can you take over? Can you be the boss lady? Can you handle all the endeavors that have to do with the home and you know, all the other stuff? I'm doing business meetings and calls and stuff all day. So I feel like, yeah, if you get with an average person, they're gonna feel inadequate, because it's like, I want to take you somewhere. I can't afford Cipriani's. I can't afford to get you a yacht to spend for your birthday. I'm gonna have to use your black card. I can't use mine because I don't have the you know, wherewithal, you know, for my bank, the type of money that I'm making, where I can help maintain your lifestyle. And I think that's going to be a major thing too, because how much she's worth $400 million. You'd be glad I'd be grateful if I got $400 in my damn bank account. So when you coming at it from that standpoint, no, I don't know if she's talking about, okay, I'm gonna get with an average Joe that make 400,000 a year when I'm making 400 million. It's like, sis, you'd be better off getting you a businessman that works out of, you know, Midtown Manhattan. I was gonna say Wall Street, but it's like, no, Midtown Manhattan, one of those. Major Nelson, and she's an alpha, but trying to act like a beta. Okay, she's not pretty woman and needs to own the. That's another thing too. I think the problem with Jennifer Lopez is that in her mind, she thinks she lives in like this fantasy Disney World type of situation. And it's like, girl, are you gonna keep living in the Matrix created by Bob Iger? Or you gonna come living in the real world with the rest of us? Cause these happily ever after fairy tales that y'all be running around Shirley Duvall's fairy tale theater, that ain't the reality. The Palestinian co-director of No Other Land was beaten up badly by Israeli soldiers and got a really bad. What was this? Yeah, because and this, from what I'm hearing, this is not even this movie won an Oscar, but we can't even see the movie in the United States. Make that make sense. I remember when Sandra Bullock got an average. Yeah, and he cheated on her. Unalive, just as the idea of dressing like a doctor, then poisoning his IV drip systems. Oh yeah, these people are crazy. But hopefully this story comes out. Wasn't there somebody that went against Trump, a reporter or something or another, that was just taken out, or a politician? No, wasn't a politician, it was a judge or something or other. She ended up dead. Child, these people are crazy. But you want to know something? Their day is going to come. They're going to find a John Wick type that's going to take all these politicians out. You just keep waiting. Or just keep it up. But anyway, let's move on. And let's talk about Katy Perry, who there's stories floating around yet again. I saw some of you Katy cats up in my comments over on Twitter. I had to cackle at that because they mad out here. I'm reporting this story. They talking about, oh, her stuff is sold out in all these other places except for one. I'm like, okay. So anyway, according to reports, it said that after 143 was critically panned, along with its single Woman's World, there's been a lot of backlash because of her collaboration with Dr. Puke on this new album, who was accused of misconduct by Kesha. That's been floating around for like over a decade, and the fact that some people was mad because they felt like Katy betrayed Kesha by continuing to associate with Dr. Puke. So now, according to a report, there's a likelihood that they're saying that Perry will have to cancel some tour dates on her upcoming Lifetimes World Tour. This is according to The Blast, by the way. But I saw the U.S. Sun, a bunch of other people was reporting this as well. The singer is scheduled to hit the road from April to November and will be performing in 83 cities across Europe, the Americas, and Canada. However, she is reportedly struggling to sell tickets for the shows and may have to cut back on performing in some cities. Now, we did talk about this before. They said expectations are high, and she is disappointed by the lack of interest in some countries and venues. This is what a source told the U.S. Sun. Some people involved thought it would be a massive wave with ticket sales exploding quickly, but sadly, she is not Taylor Swift. Who are these people they were talking to, number one? Because I don't know where on this planet that y'all thought that this quote again. Some people involved thought it would be a massive wave with ticket sales exploding quickly. Who are these people? Are they in her camp? Because y'all are delusional. Because I don't know one person who y'all thought was actually going to be up in here excited for a new Katy Perry tour, especially when Katy Perry hasn't toured in a while. She did a residency. And here's the thing. When you in one spot doing a show, and you're doing a residency, it's not that hard to get a bunch of tourists who are in the area, you know, with the gambling and the partying and all of that stuff going on in Vegas to be like, let's take in a show. Let's go see Katy Perry and check it out. The Vegas Strip is kind of like, you know, it's a tourist attraction. So, yeah, you're going to get a lot of those people who are coming in and out of Vegas from all over the world that are going to go see this show. She was in one space. You didn't really have to worry as much about whether or not she was going to fill up and sell out tickets because that was what she gave. But then when this album came out, which basically sounded like dated, basic-ass Euro dance pop, which I'm sure the Europeans live for it because, you know, y'all like anything with a, you know, an 808 behind it, if it's good. But then again, there's been some horrible dance music that has come out of Europe that they will support it regardless. But in America, I don't think people care as much. She's got her loyal fan base, but I feel like it should have been select spots. So the source explained that the supposed low ticket sales was starting to get very confusing as we need those big dates to be full. Now, although canceling concert shows will be a worst case scenario, we'll ask Jennifer Lopez, another source noted that it's a possibility, saying that we hope no concerts will be canceled and it will be a huge blow and disappointment, they shared. Perry, who last toured in 2018, so that's 6 years that she hasn't toured and gave like a massive tour. So she hasn't been consistent like Taylor Swift has. Taylor Swift's been releasing albums every year, basically. So she's been accumulating and building her fan base and feeding the girl, you know, the Swifties. So I can understand why Taylor Swift, who, you know, is kind of been, who's not kind of, she's been selling out stadiums all over the world for the past 2 years, especially with that Torture Poets Department album, with the Eras tour. So they said that she reportedly contacted her longtime friend Taylor Swift for advice and support as she hopes to avert the situation. Swift is fresh from her highly successful Eras World Tour, where she grossed a record $2 billion in ticket sales and solidified her status as a billionaire pop star. Now, according to Forbes, Swift's net worth now stands at an estimated $1.6 billion after pocketing about $190 million after taxes. Then they had to make sure it was after taxes too, from the first leg of the Eras Tour and another $35 million from the first 2 weeks of screenings of Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour movie. So it wasn't just the tour, it was also the movie deal that she had where it was showing in AMC theaters. So yeah, when y'all see in this picture, all that blue, that was tickets that had yet to be sold. So, what else does it say? So it also said that Katy saw one of the Taylor shows last year and was excited and inspired by what she saw. She knows she can count on her to give her some positive feedback. Taylor wants Katy to succeed and have a great tour and enjoy her time while on the road, and Katy appreciates that. Perry's tour sales may seemingly be affected by her disastrous album rollout due to the lead single Woman's World being produced by Dr. Puke. Now, with the tour just months away, these sluggish sales come after Perry faced backlash from fans over her decision to collaborate with Dr. Luke on the latest album, 143. The producer, as you know, has been a controversial figure since the whole situation with Kesha. Now, after years of lawsuits and countersuits, both parties reached a private settlement in 2023, avoiding a trial. Now, Perry was reportedly warned not to work with the producer on any new music, but she ignored the advice. Then she decided to go on, was it the Call Me Daddy podcast or something or another, and she gave some flippant excuse as to why she worked with him and whatever she said. I was like, okay, girl, this makes no damn sense, and people weren't buying into it. And then she came across as tone deaf with the Woman's World music video. It just felt like that you were just trying to play up this whole such a feminist thing, and it was just like, girl, you're not reading the room. It was just the whole rollout was a mess. Then you listen to the songs sound like dated dance pop music that would have probably worked best in 2011, but we're in 2024 that's when the album was released. So we in 2024 as we talking about it in 2025. So the album comes out in 2024. People's listening to it. We all like, WTF is this? This album ain't it. Girl, put this back in the vault. You should have never released these songs. It's trash. And now, when I watched her at Jingle Ball, when she did the old hits, everybody was pretty much enjoying it. Although there was a kind of a bit of a shade where they were like, "Well, damn, everybody's clearing out because she came and closed out the show." Which it could have been a mixture of both. Maybe people weren't there; they wanted to see Katy, but also you got to realize in New York City, especially when we are literally Madison Square Garden is on top of 34th Street Penn Station. So when a lot of the people that are leaving the venues, they've got trains to catch. They're trying to get to the railroad after a certain time. The New Jersey Transit be funny with them when they pick up or come for the people and whatever and take them back and forth from New York to New Jersey. So people be real particular about their train schedule. So yeah, when you going on late and you pushing towards midnight, but you got to pay a penalty if you go over a certain time after midnight. Or I'm trying to remember if it's midnight or if it's 11 p.m. You do have to pay a penalty. Where it's like you got to, per minute, you got to pay thousands and thousands of dollars if you go over your time. Because you only paid up to a certain time to rent out the venue that you're doing your show at. So when you're doing Jingle Ball, yeah, I'm sure iHeart will cover the bill. And Katy Perry went on, I believe, at like 11:45. I think that it kind of went over a little bit and it did go on a bit late. And a lot of people was clearing out. But I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, damn, I already know this about to go viral. And people going to say that, oh, everybody's trying to leave. And I remember the next day I saw all this stories and stuff coming out. And people trying to paint a certain narrative. So it could have probably been a mixture of both. That, people were trying to catch a train. And then there was some people was like, okay, I'm not here for Katy Perry. I want to see Benson Boone. I want to see Stacey Abrams. I want to see Shabuzi. I want to see all these other artists. But I don't really want to see this lady and listen to her performing Woman's World and these other songs. Well, she did play some of the new stuff, but she focused on the old hits, and those who stayed behind was living. But when it came down to the newer stuff, I did notice a lot of people weren't really, they weren't into it. So we'll see, sis, if this story turns out to be true and it gets to a point where a lot of the fandom, if people are going to actually go out and see the show. But I'm sure like all the arenas, if the tickets are going to be, I don't know, if the tickets if people are struggling, what they'll do is they'll drop those ticket prices down to like $25 a day of. I'm just throwing a number out there. And people are like, oh, this ticket is cheap. I'm going to just go and, get liquored up pregame before I come into the garden and maybe get me like a drink or two and some food or whatever. And I'm just going to watch the show and just be wild and entertained for 2 hours or whatever the case is. They'll find a way to fill up the marinas. I know they'll do that at the Garden, but as far maybe she won't struggle that much at the Garden. But other places in other cities that outside of, I think, New York, LA, like the big major areas, maybe she should just focus on certain areas and not like, I don't know, parts of Texas or Phoenix, Arizona. I don't know if she'll be able to sell tickets out there, but we'll just have to see. how she does when that all happens. But also to wrap this up, they said she was insane to think that Dr. Luke was a good idea. She didn't listen to anyone. Instead of diving deep in creating art, she put something out that sounded like it could have been an album of hers from 2010. And I feel like that's what it was. She decided to release this album because it was okay. We need to fill a quota. I mean, I've been out of the game for a minute. I've been over there on American Idol. I've been doing a residency, and creatively, I need to put out something so that way people remember. Oh, hi, with Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande and all these other, and Lady Gaga and all my other contemporaries still putting out music. I ain't put out nothing in the month of Sunday. So I gotta remember, oh, hey, look, Katy Perry over here in the corner. I gotta put out something so y'all remember me. But then when you put out the music you put out is just not memorable. And that's no shade. It just is what it is. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards of the rumors swirling that she may have to cancel some Lifetime tour dates due to some disappointing ticket sales? To be honest, there's too many of y'all going on tour right now. Like we got Tate McRae about to go on tour. We got Dula Peep about to come over to the United States a couple of months from now to tour. We got Lady Gaga doing a couple of dates, which I heard that she's struggling to sell out those stadium tours over in Singapore. I did see that report that came out over there with Lady Gaga. She got 5 dates, and they said that the struggle is real over there with them ticket sales. Then we got Beyonce about to come out and do her tour, where they said she got about 95% of them tickets sold, although they would say that she was struggling too. So there's a lot of girls right now that's going on tour, and we're about to hit a recession. You know, the money ain't money in like it used to, especially with this current administration about to just, bleed us dry financially. So the struggle is real out here, and a lot of people don't have like $1,000, $1,200, $2,000. They barely got it for their rent. So what makes you think they gonna have that money to go out here and support their favorite pop girlies to see them on stage giving half-ass performances for 2 hours like Katy Perry usually does when she performs? So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, I definitely want to hear from you. So let me know in the comments your thoughts down below. He said, "How does the garden look?" I've noticed she didn't add a second. Yeah, she didn't add a second date. She only added 1 date. Kylie. Funny enough, I don't be looking at Ticketmaster like that. I need to definitely be looking at Ticketmaster in regards to the tickets, in regards to how that looks. But I need to look that up and see how the tickets is selling over there with Katy Perry. But we have been advertising that Katy Perry is coming with the Lifetime store. We've been doing it in between like the Knicks games and stuff. We put it up on the Jumbotron. Kylie has 2 dates. As I said earlier, if y'all weren't in the room, I am working both dates. So I'm excited to see the show 2 days in a row. That's why I was like, I wasn't putting in no blackout days because I wanted to see if they was actually going to give me two of the shows. And lo and behold, I got both of them. I'm also working Mary J. Blige's show, so that should be interesting. I was like, although I do want to see Mary, but I've been hearing lately she's been half-assing it with her performances. She got Neo as the opening act. So I am excited about him. Bias in the media looks like CNN, MSNBC, ABC, and others covered the story about Peter Hegseth accidentally sending military secrets to a reporter. Well, of course, the Fox News is not going to talk about it. That's how they do. And I saw The View was talking about Bernie Sanders and AOC on this anti-oligarchy tour. I definitely need to hear what they got to say. Because when they were up there making excuses, Sarah Haynes, number one, and that's why I said to her, because the other day she was giving me bulldagger tease. I know you got a bunch of kids and a husband, but girl, I'm just waiting for you and Alyssa Farrah Griffin to actually get up there and start mud oil wrestling and eating each other's box on camera, because the way that you two be going at it with each other, like y'all in a love fest with each other, it irritates me. Like, Alyssa can't defend herself. Sarah out here saying stupidity in regards of she agrees with what the decision that Chuck Schumer made, and they all up there kissing their ass. I was actually happy that Sonny said what she said, and what pissed me off is when you had Joy ass there, which I'm starting to look at her, she a damn Zionist, and I like Joy, but Joy, you give me Zionistic tease, because when Sonny was pushing back on what he was doing, she was, all right, we gotta know. Let her say what she got to say, because whenever somebody says something y'all don't like, y'all be quick to shut their ass down. So you're incorrect, and y'all agreeing. Well, what else was you supposed to do? Let the damn government shut down and see how they like it. That's what should have happened. But y'all sit there worrying about a woulda, coulda, shoulda, and what may happen instead of letting it happen. Oh no, I'm calling your bluff. If y'all want to shut down the government, let it shut down. Let these people go out, let them suffer financially, and see if they don't wake up and be like, no, I'm not coming to the table with a bunch of political stuff, whereas I'm walking away with nothing and you get everything. What kind of negotiation is that? It just goes to show that, you know what, y'all don't know what the hell y'all doing over there, and you've been in the game for a long time. Maybe what it is mentally y'all still stuck on 2013, and be in previous, y'all still stuck in like George W. Bush time and Reagan time, and not realizing that these people have thrown out the rule book. The rules don't apply to them. They don't agree. They don't follow the rules anymore. So we need to fight them, meet them where they at, instead of doing podcasts, Gavin Newsom, on why is it that I need to have with these Steve Bannons and these red state nutbags, these extremists, on how we can meet in the middle with these Joe Rogan radicalized fanboys. Why are you going after them? What y'all should be having a conversation with is the people that stayed their ass home and didn't vote, and try to get them back so they can vote for y'all. Not over there trying to get with these Trump bros. Why are you trying to mingle with them? Why are you trying to have a beer with them? Why are you trying to have a conversation with them? You're not getting them. They already made their mind up. They know you know where they reside. So why are you trying to get them to come over and understand them? All you got to do is look at the data, pay attention. You don't need to. I don't need to sit down with a Steve Dan Bannon and know why they vote the way they fucking vote. And if you're going to have a conversation with these people, which I recommend, like if you're going to I'm all for debating people who have opposing views. But when they say something incorrect, we should be able to have a conversation and push back on the lies and the misinformation that they're putting out there. Why are you just sitting there, kikiing with them and fangirling over their stuff but not pushing back? You should have the conversation. That's why I liked when he had his interview with Tim Walz, because Tim Walz was pushing back on what Gavin Newsom asked, was saying he thinking just sitting up there with the, looking like JFK with all them and showing off them pearly whites is going to distract from the situation. But I really feel like you in this podcast, sir, unless you turn it around, and I understand you trying to run for president, all of this you putting out right now, you may not realize it, but it's going to bite you in the ass in 2028, and you're not going to be able to win the presidency. Because who's voting for you? It ain't going to be these people you cucking yourself to. And the damn show ain't gonna be me, because all this stuff, these people you interviewing, and the way that you're not even pushing back on some of the stuff they say, I'm not voting for him. And then also that Taylor owning her masters and also re-recording the stuff, that's also how she, made her money, and putting so many different variations of this music out there, that also helped her. You get the cash and a lot of streaming money, and we buy her clothing and such online. So yeah, when she owns the narrative, I'm definitely gonna have to get attention to a t-shirt. But I'm gonna have to speak to one of my coworkers, because she knows one of the people at the merch section. I'm like, can you ask your friend to put attention t-shirt to the so I can get one? Because she managed to get some of the merch for Disturbed. And I should have asked, I'm like, wait, somebody over there at the merch section, and have them put aside something so that way I can get it for for her. They said they care about the money, they hate the poor and the working class, believing it's like, I'm not working like no damn slave. Y'all don't. So why am I killing myself? And I feel like we at that point now, and I feel like COVID opened up a lot of people's eyes. Because people was like, I'm not going to be out here living like that no more. I'm not killing myself for no damn job. Where it's like, I have friends where it's like, I got one job where it pays my rent, and then I work a second job where it pays for the amenities. We shouldn't be having no human being should have to work multiple jobs to make ends meet. That one job should be able to cover everything. Everything's going up, but a living wage. And here's the thing, I went food shopping earlier. Why y'all keep talking about lowering the price of eggs? This boy, 17 eggs, brown eggs in a carton. Guess how much that cost me? Under $7. It cost me like $6 and change. So where is the price of eggs going up? Maybe it's going up in red states, but where I went food shopping today, I found a lot of good sales. Even the meat when I was buying, I bought me some pork chops, I bought me some ground beef, I bought me some ribs. The ribs had the manager special, so I had to cook those today. Y'all know what that is. The manager special means that you gotta cook that shit today, otherwise it's gonna go bad. So I got the manager special on the ribs. I got me some pork chops. I got me some chicken. I got me some ground beef. I got me and all the other meat was fine. It didn't have the manager special. The pork chops was the one thing. And so I had to cut it up and all this stuff. Otherwise, I usually get the ones that's pre-cut. And that's also another thing too. When you buy meat, if it's not cut, it's a lot cheaper than when it's pre-cut. You notice that because y'all be over. I was like, I'll cut it myself. That's fine. My parents taught my mother really. She taught me how to cut up like meat and things and stuff when I cook. It's like I had to learn all of that. And plus I learned that when I worked in the restaurant business. I had to learn how to like cut up stuff. Like you learn all of that. But anyway, so when I went food shopping today, I bought a lot of stuff and I spent like almost $200. So it wasn't bad. So prices is good now. But when them prices go, watch you know who take credit for the fact that things ain't expensive now. I don't know what the hell these people out here talking about. Well, I see there's 2 more comments and then we're going to get to the other thing. You said there's a blue one on her inside the diamond at the itinerary on the back. Oh, might start working at Costco, $30 an hour and good benefits. Yeah. I always thought about working at Costco because I'm like, yeah, they do got good benefits up in there. But that's a good one. Maybe we should look into that. And that's some good coins. But anyway, let's get into this Project Runway news. So we have some latest tea on it. Now, the other day we did, well, not the other day, but a couple of episodes ago, we talked about how Heidi Klum was coming back to Project Runway for his 21st season. We didn't hear of who the judges are going to be, but of course, if we read the lower third, you already know who's coming back. So we got Kristen Siriano is coming, well, Nina Garcia, or as Heidi Klum would say, Nina Garcia. You know, she's coming back as the judge. She's been with the show since its inception. Now we got Laura Roach coming on. So Laura about to be busy. Laura's over there at RuPaul's Drag Race. She is going to be the judge in next week's episode. So Laura is going to be doing not only RuPaul's Drag Race, but he's also doing Project Runway, which I think is a phenomenal idea because he's a fashion guy. We love his honest opinions about stuff. Having him part of the show, y'all already know them ratings is going to jump through the roof. And I was mad that, yeah, we wasn't getting Tim Gunn. Tim Gunn even came out and said he was disappointed. Howsoever, I did say, if they brought on Kristen Siriano and kept him on as the mentor, because remember, when Heidi and Tim left, there were a bunch of other people on there. I don't remember who, but I remember when Kristen Siriano became a part of the show and kind of took over the Tim Gunn role, I was like, I actually like him on there. Then they had him doing double duty, where they had him as the host, because Carly Claus was not working. I'm sorry, but she wasn't. Let her just be the wife to one of, let her be the sister-in-law to Ivanka Trump. But her trying to do the whole as a model and look, Ivanka was a model once upon a time too. But let her be, a rich man wife or whatever, because her as doing the pundit stuff and her coming on as a host, it wasn't working. But nevertheless, now that they bring in Heidi Klum back, it's got me interested in coming back and watching the show. And now they have Kristen Siriano coming on officially as in the Tim Gunn role, and he will remain as the mentor. So according to Deadline, and they said that this show is currently filming and is going to air this summer on Disney Plus, Hulu, and Freeform. Now I know I got Freeform somewhere, but Disney Plus and Hulu, I have Disney Plus, I have Hulu. I watch a lot of Hulu because they have a lot of classic shows on there, especially like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Living Single and New York Undercover, like a lot of those old shows that I watch. Plus they have 911, a bunch of other things. So they have the great library of TV shows that I like. And now that they're having this group of people coming on, I'm actually pretty excited. So additional guest judges have not been announced, but we'll get that at a later time. So according to Deadline, they said Garcia is the editor-in-chief of U.S. edition of Elle Magazine and has been a judge on the reality show competition since its debut in 2004. So over 20 years. Law joins the judges panel after working as an image architect with celebrities such as Zendaya, Anne Hathaway, Celine Dion, and Tom Holland. Siriano, as you know, won Project Runway in season 4 and became a mentor when Bravo rebooted the show in 2019 for season 17. The CFDA designer will guide contestants in the workroom, having experience designing for personalities like First Ladies Jill Biden or Dr. Jill Biden and Michelle Obama. Former Vice President Kamala Harris, Angelina Jolie, Oprah, Zendaya, Ariana Grande, Julianne Moore, Lady Gaga, Tiffany Haddish, Billy Porter, Cardi B, Julia Roberts, Jennifer Coolidge, and most recently, and he's done it for her over the years, Whoopi Goldberg, but he most recently designed Whoopi's dress at the Oscars, which I actually love Whoopi's dress at the Oscars. So although I would love Tim Gunn to come back because, Tim Gunn is a guy who works at, Parsons School of Design. He has that background of like being a teacher. I would rather someone who is in the world of design and fashion stuff, and I think that's more or less the direction they want to go. Someone who actually is still working in the business, still makes clothes for a lot of big celebrities, and actually was a contestant on Project Runway. So having that person come in and be a mentor, I feel like definitely works for the direction of the show, because here's someone who has been through what you guys are going through and has experienced what you guys are experiencing and is now in this world doing, giving you the guidance to be able to do what you need to do in regards to the fashions. So I love the idea of this. Plus, when we get that no nonsenseness from Law, and him saying it like he means it, and we need that in regards of the whole reality TV world, where somebody come in, it's like, I'm not being shady, I'm just saying what needs to be said. And I like Kristen Siriano, so I think this is a great idea, but they have all these people up in here. Now, y'all don't care who produces the show, so we don't need to go into all of that, but and all the people that work behind the scenes. But they also said that Plume, Siriano, and Garcia also serve as executive producers. So them being a part of the show, they at least get a piece of that production pie, as well as they get to be a part of the show. So I'm looking forward to this upcoming season. Now that I'm hearing who's a part of it, I figured they were going to always keep Nina being part of the show. She's been with the show since the beginning. I love the fact that Heidi's coming back. They probably back with the Brinks truck because they definitely need her. Like, she is Project Runway, and that's no shade. And yeah, while it's unfortunate we're not getting Tim, I do like the fact that we got Christian Siriano. He's the next best thing. So I can totally understand the direction they're going into. This will definitely boost the ratings in regards of now that we know who's a part of it. And it's definitely got me excited. So I want to hear from you all. What do you guys think of this story? Are you excited to hear that Christian Siriano, Nina Garcia, and Laura Roach are joining Heidi Klum on this? And they calling it just season 21. It's a reboot, basically, of Project Runway. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Let me say, anybody notice Carly Claus basically disappeared since she was called out by a gay contestant for being sister-in-law with Ivanka Trump? I said she's going to disappear fast and go. Probably. It's like, you know what? Just let, Jared Kushner brother do what he doing. Just live off the Kushner money, and that's that. That's what you could do. All right, y'all. So since we were talking about Drag Race, let's get into some Drag Race tea. So the Drag Race just happened, and in last week's episode, I was going to say we were going to talk about, we didn't do a recap of last week's episode because last week's episode was freaking boring. So I didn't feel like sitting up here and talking about it. So last week we ended up saying good night to Lydia Butthole Collins, who rumors are swirling that she is going to be on All Stars 10. And she had won her first maxi challenge. Week later, she gets the sachet away. The queens, competed in another acting challenge where they did the iconic homage to Truman Capote and the Swans. That whole acting challenge was terrible. Ross Matthews' acting was a mess. If he was competing, I would have had him lip sync for his life up against Lydia and send his ass home. But because he's a judge, he gets to stay. Shantae, he stays. So, of course, Anya took home her third award, or her third challenge win, because, she is the thespian of the season. She definitely always delivers when it comes to the acting challenges. Sam, came in second place. And of course, now we have another acting challenge where they had to come in this week, which made perfect sense to be like, okay, well, you wasn't going to excel again, so we had to let her go because she wouldn't have worked. She probably wouldn't have survived another acting challenge. And so they had to do the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent monologues, which I will say this needs to happen more often. This is not the first time that they've actually done the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent monologues. They did it also on the season of All Stars with Kylie Sonique Love and Ginger Minge and all of them. So they did it on that season, and I'm glad that they brought it back. Now, one of the things I did like after the girls came into the workroom is how Anya dragged the other girls for their cop-out answer for when Ru always asks, who should go home tonight and why? And everybody went and picked Susie too, which I'm like, that was such a lame damn answer. If I would have had a choice, I would have went with either Lydia or Aunt Lana Jarre, because to be honest, they've been doing okay. And just because you won one challenge, you still was kind of floundering about. I don't even think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Lana Jarre has actually won a challenge. If she has, let me know. So, with that being said, because I was like, let me pull up a picture, because I do have photos. You know, I love a slideshow over on this show. So, after that whole thing, I do agree with Anya Nerve that it was like, yeah, it was a cop-out. Y'all basically ran up in here and was just like, oh, y'all wanted to pick Susie too. Susie didn't mind it all that much, but I do agree. I'm not going to go and pick out the girl who was my biggest competition and be like, she need to leave so that way you can make way for me. No, if I'm about it, if I feel like I'm strong in my convictions and I'm that bitch, I'm that bitch. I'm that bitch. If I feel like I'm in that way, that bitch, as I was saying in the Rue song, the Rue Challenge song, what I'm gonna do is I want to compete with the best. I don't want to compete with no weak chicks so that way I could just easily gallop my way to the finish line. No, I want to show like I won fair and square. So I want to go up against the best. I'm not gonna go and pick Susie too. Susie's a strong contender. So I definitely would not have an issue going head to head with her. So after all of that, they decided, the girls came in the workroom and they're ready to take on another challenge. Ru came in the room and told the queens that drag is a sisterhood, and then asked the queens to pair it with the queen who knows them best. So Lexi chose Anya, which pissed Sam off, because Sam was like, wait a minute, we both have such a tight connection within the workroom. Why would you pick Anya? But I think Lexi picked Anya because she's like, I want to win a challenge for once. I'm tired of getting in my own head and working, I don't want to be safe. I want to actually have a way of winning. But apparently Anya must be that anxiety whisperer, because she did end up helping Lexi get out of her own head. And we'll get to, I don't want to jump the boom boom gun too fast, so we'll get to that point. So they had to write their partner's drag race bio. Now, here's the thing with this whole thing with the Mad Libs bio thing, where they had to read in front of the group, which is basically they like this thing they have written out, and you have to just write something in the blank. So filling in the blank. I actually like this challenge. I think y'all need to keep this around, because here's the thing. Y'all been kind of boring as of late with a couple of the challenges. So I would love to see them continue this whole thing. This was actually pretty funny the way they was doing that. And sidebar, can we get more of the pit crew? Because we have not been seeing a lot of the pit crew. I'm not talking about Asaph and all of them. I need more Bruno. And Bruno in them pink shorts. I was like, okay, I see all that Brazilian meat down there. And how the body was bodying and all that pink. So I want to see more Bruno. I want to see more of the I want to see more pit crew. Like, first of all, the one thing I always loved about Drag Race is how the pit crew has always been incorporated throughout the show. I feel like they're trying to take away too much of that other stuff. And another thing I'm noticing, and I mentioned this before, the She Done Already Done had hers is. We don't even have that no more. Now it's the girls kikiing, and then Ru just won't hello, 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 and then all of a sudden everybody gets excited. So it's like y'all just slowly trying to eliminate certain things that are staples in the Drag Race situation. So yeah, so then they had the mini challenge, which I did find funny. A couple of them was funny. I mean, was all right, but The one I did like was when Anya wrote that Lexi takes inspiration from Niecy Nash and Aunt Jemima, and Lexi had Anya introduce herself as Corey King. That was the only thing that I thought was funny from Lexi's. The other things with the toenails, and I was like, okay, girl, that's gross. But the Niecy Nash, Aunt Jemima thing, and all the other stuff that Anya Nerd put in, that was hilarious. And making her say all of that had me cackling. So the Jules, but I was going to say the Jules Sparkles one where she gave a scathing bio of Susie Toot, that was funny. I actually loved, I was like, okay, Jules, you got that one. So her actually winning the challenge was justified. The only problem is, and this we're going to get to. So, Bruno comes in the room, brings in a pink furry box, which the girls had to dig into. And the girls had to pick out their story prompts. But the twist is that the pairs that they already had picked for the mini challenge, one will have to tell the story orally, while the other one have to do an interpretive dance, which I did find funny because Susie decided to take it literally, and had Miss Mamas up in there dancing like y'all was auditioning for Alvin Ailey. I'm like, y'all don't need to be doing all of that. It's an interpretive dance. Just make it funny. Have a good time. You getting a little too serious when it comes to these performances, but y'all know how Susie gets. So it was kind of, annoying. But then the funny part was, yet again, because y'all remember what happened last time, because, oh my God, because, oh my God, what was like, all of a sudden I just drew a damn blank. Because she won the challenge. Who was it that won the challenge? Now look at me. Like I'm sitting here like drawing a damn blank. My name's Jules Sparkles. Thank you, brain, for finally cutting away the cobwebs. So because Jules Sparkles won the challenge, she had to choose the order again. And y'all remember what happened the last time when she had to choose the order. She had got into it with Arietti. Arietti wrote what she wrote in that damn mirror. And she got into it with Lexi. And Lexi was sweating yet again because it was like, okay. But they managed to make it work with what they had in regards to that situation. So it wasn't so bad the way that they worked out the situation. Because we always said from the beginning, it doesn't matter which way you go in regards of the orders and all that other stuff. If y'all come up with a good bio, a good interpretive dance, and ruin them like it and it's silly enough and it's not taken so seriously, it'll work. It doesn't matter what order you go into. I can go first, I can go in the middle, or I can go last. If our stuff is good, it's good. It shouldn't matter. So Susie and Jules, are feeling good about their group. Sam and Lana think about how movement will play into their performance. But then you got Sam worrying about a little bit in regards of Lana, because Lana was basically bringing up her upbringing. Sam was hoping that, it'll give her the push that she needs to win. Lexi and Anya was talking about, karma and what story Lexi should choose for her story. Anya was taking a more laid-back approach. Lexi, of course, was getting in her head. Anya was hoping her inner saboteur doesn't take control. And then Jules wants to make a couple of the girls upset. And works with Susie to ruffle a couple of feathers. So then Jules went and gathered all the girls and asked which order they like to go in, and everyone easily agrees on their places. So they have to choreograph their own dances. Anya isn't really getting Lexi's story, but it's not stopping her from trying her hardest. And you had Susie really was micromanaging Jules, which was kind of annoying. And that's why I was saying before, like when it comes down to it, Susie was acting like y'all up in here about the audition for Alvin Ailey, or y'all about to go in front of Bob Fosse, he dead, so y'all had to dig him up. And then it was like, y'all are not Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Y'all don't really need to come up in here and give full on technique. You got to have fun with it. And then you had Lana worrying about being in the bottom. So then they're doing, their hair and makeup, getting it all together. Lexi is feeling surprisingly confident going into the challenge. Susie basically was talking about her family history with addiction in the confessionals, which was a nice thing to get about, Susie. Sam revealed that she had a similar story and they could relate. Then you had Lana telling the other queen she used to be a clown, which Sam thinks will give them an advantage in the challenge, which that was actually surprising to me too. Fortunately, that didn't translate. Now, then we get to the main stage where Mama Ru introduces us. Wait, do I have that picture? Yeah, I do. So we have Mama Ru getting on the main stage and introducing us to the panel of judges. So, of course, we got Michelle Visage. Then we got T.S. Madison. And then, of course, Jared Carmichael. Now, I was like, Jared Carmichael? We really had to have Jared Carmichael up in here? Because, it's been a little controversy around him, especially remember when he came out with that reality show. And people wasn't feeling it, especially like in his idea of relationships with white men and all the other stuff. So that was kind of like, I don't know if that was basically triggering a lot of people on social media, but I know a lot of people don't particularly care for Jared Carmichael. So then we had the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent monologues, or as I like to just say, the cunt monologues, because that's what it is. Begin with, Susie about losing a spelling bee as a child with Jules dancing beside her. The energy and movement is clear, and the story is cute or whatever. Then after Jules told her story about her best friend being a ghost with Susie dancing, they're a good team, but everybody looked pretty bored with their whole situation. So then Anya basically told her story about being a vegan with Lexi dancing beside her. But the funny part was when we got to Lexi, let me tell you, when Lexi was up here doing her little interpretive dance, it was hilarious, by the way. Like, she was really throwing herself into it. And it felt like and I think the reason why they ended up, and I know this is jumping the gun or whatever, but if y'all seen it, you already know. We're talking spoilers. The fact that why Anya and Lexi actually won the challenge, because I think it was that Lexi finally got out of her head and let herself go and just had fun. So her pairing herself up with Susie, her pairing herself up with Anya Nerve actually worked in her favor. So then they traded places, and Lexi basically told her story about revenge with Anya dancing. Next, then we had Sam telling the crowd what triggers her with Lana dancing. Finally, Lana tells her story about being lost with Sam and a lantern dancing to her words, which I understand that. I was just like, okay, sis, if this is what we're going with, if you like it, I love it. And so there was that. So then next that we get to is the ugliest dress ever, to commemorate a decade since the first time the category worked the runway. And then, there was, I wouldn't even say great gowns, beautiful gowns. They was all terrible. So I don't even have a favorite among them. They were all ugly. Although I will say this, I thoroughly enjoyed seeing Lana's interpretation of Kandi Muse's runway, one of her looks, which I'm like, okay, Lana's, even though all them dresses is ugly, I actually kind of like Lana's interpretation. So then when after the not so great gowns, terrible gowns, finished doing their thing on the runway, Michelle basically started off with critiquing Susie in the challenge. So Michelle and Tiaz loved her story and felt moved by it, but felt disappointed with her dance. Her ugly Christmas dress was horrible. I'm gonna say, oh God, that's ugly. But we get that it was the whole point of ugly, terrible dresses, or ugliest dress ever. Then Michelle basically told Jules she struggled to tell her story with Rue wanting more drag in it, but they loved her dance. All the judges agreed that her outfit isn't ugly enough. Now, and I do agree with that. It just looks like some regular 80s prom dress. Like, maybe to you that would be an ugly dress, but trust and believe, there would have been many girls in the 80s wearing that dress to their prom. So I do agree that, yeah, her dress wasn't ugly enough. She thought by not, putting some titties in and making her makeup look a little crazy, like Linnea Quigley in Night of the Demons. She thought that would make her look, messy. If you haven't seen that movie, you'll know exactly what I mean about Linnea Quigley and who did her makeup. Especially when you watch that movie in HD. So now, all the judges agreed. As I said, her outfit was ugly. Now, Anya's story about her experimental raw veganism, while all the judges and loved her movement for Lexi's story. Her hideous turkey outfit also makes top toot from the judges. Gerard Carmichael loved Lexi's lines in her story, and all the judges loved her dancing for Anya. Her tutu towel also catches the judges' attention. Then we had Michelle liked Sam's story, but Gerard wanted to laugh more, and TS wanted her to interpret her partner's story better. Well, how can you interpret a story when you don't even understand the story? So that's, I think, where the judges need to understand as well. And I don't think Lana knew how to interpret the thing. So I think every season, this needs to be a challenge too. Like, I think that we need to incorporate this more in the season too, where it's like y'all do the cunt monologues, and your partner, you have to figure out how to tell the other person's story through interpretive dance. And if it comes down to it, that will be like, okay, this is the thing that gets you to move to the next challenge. So we get top 5. So now, they also said Michelle tells her that her dress is gorgeous, but Ru can tell why she would think it's ugly. So then Gerard can relate to Lana's story the most, but Michelle felt she was disconnected to the words. TS tells her she interpreted Sam's story better than she told her own. And that's probably because when you said that, when Michelle said she felt disconnected to the words, it's probably because maybe Lana didn't have a story that she felt that she could feel compelled to tell, and she felt connected in some sort of way. So therefore, the interpretation of it, if Sam's not getting it and you're not willing to sell me the story, then yeah, I'm not going to get it. So that probably, I think, hurt Lana in so many ways. Because if you couldn't interpret your story and Sam couldn't interpret it, then yeah, the judges are going to see that. Hence why you had Michelle basically clock her and said that she felt disconnected to the words or what her story was. So now after deliberations, they sent the girls backstage so they could film on top. And then they had the judges sat back and deliberated. Lexi and Anya Nerve ended up being the winners, as I told you earlier in the show. So now they'll split the cash, and now they're moving into the top 5, which is great. And now Lexi finally won a second, maxi challenge. So now hopefully she can get out of her head and hopefully make it to the top 4. Because I already had people spoiling what happens in next week's episode, so I'm not going to spoil it for y'all here. Now, Jules and Susie also ended up being saved, which meant that Sam and Lana Jarre ended up at the bottom, and then they performed Illusion by Dula Peep, which I had somebody in my comments say that based off the performance that Sam did not win, that Lana actually won. And I'm sitting there like, were we watching the same thing? Because definitely they both delivered. And I thought Sam did well, and I also thought Lana did well. However, I do believe that the reason why Ru chose Lana to sashay away is because Lana's already been in the bottom 4 times, and based off of how she was giving in the show, she is not ready to make it to the end and snatch a crown. She made it as far as she did. Hopefully we'll see her well polished, a little more polished once she gets to All Stars. And she even went on social media, on her Twitter. I didn't pull up the tweets, but I am paraphrasing. She was like, a lot of y'all seem to forget that I'm relatively new to drag. And I'm applying a lot of the critiques that a lot of the judges have been telling me, and I'm applying it to my day-to-day life and what's going on with me and all this other stuff, like I'm to better my drag. So she said this. So, but I know a lot of people was like, well, shouldn't you have did that before you came on the show? I think some people, and I don't know, maybe y'all could agree or not, but I feel like a lot of times when it comes to this situation, that maybe the reason why people are feeling the way that they feel is because when it comes to drag and drag race, a lot of the girls, I think some of y'all are jumping into the drag because y'all want to be famous on TV and parlay it into other things. Those who actually love the art and will continue it and will continue to rise, and the cream will always rise to the top, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But when it comes down to it, it kind of makes you wonder. It's like, yeah, a lot of y'all are jumping into this space because it's like, oh yeah, I want to be on TV, and if I attach myself to this person who used to be on the show, I'm the daughter of this one. Now it's like Nepo drag baby is the future of Drag Race and where it's going. So a lot of times, a lot of these girls aren't doing like how when I was a kid, how we saw drag, which was pre-Drag Race, which is you had to come up in the clubs. And it wasn't looked at as, I mean, it was looked at as a way of survival for some, and it was looked at as a career in certain ways where people were like, okay, I'm just going to be doing it's a fun little hobby. I make a little money doing it by doing the Miss Continental pageants or whatever other pageants they have. And then because there was no TV show, drag wasn't what it is today. Drag hasn't become what it's become today. So the times have changed. So the kids don't have time to be out here developing their craft and pounding the pavement like the queens used to. I mean, if some of y'all are real serious about it, I feel like some of y'all should actually get out here and perform at $3 Bill or perform at, all these other gay bars and stuff that's all around New York. We got a lot of bars and clubs in New York City that y'all can be pounding the pavement at. So in the end, Sam basically stayed in the competition. Lingerie ended up getting eliminated. And like I said, I had some of my comments that was upset over it. And I'm just like, why you mad though? Why you mad though? It's like, what you upset for? It's like, it is what it is. And what happened. So we'll see what happens as the show continues. So yeah. So that's all I got to say on that. So I want to hear from you all. What do you guys think of this latest episode of RuPaul's Drag Race? Do you agree with Ru's decision to eliminate Lingerie as the latest queen on the show? So whatever your thoughts are on this matter, as well as your overall thoughts on the episode, let me know in the comments down below. Oh, damn, we got a lot of comments. Felix said Lana was kind of boring. Oh, so she didn't win anything. Lydia killed the roast. Yeah, she killed the roast. But and after that, it was just like, meh. Like the last week's episode, we was all right. I really like this new challenge. I love dancing, and I as doing my own interpretive dance as the queens were telling their stories. I hope they bring it back. Yeah, I think it's like I would love to see that. And the Jared Carmichael thing is so funny because Mama Ru has a history of being a white man chased. Well, that's a fact. Felix, he is married to a white man. Not I'm aware. Sam probably didn't want to be goofy around the story of Lana being a black man in an unacceptable family. Yeah, that's like, how do you make that work? Because I think a lot of people think about how they're interpreted on TV. Look, Lexi didn't mind after, especially with all that stuff that she had to read off that card from Miss Anya Nerve, which was hilarious. But I love the fact that she said what she said in the confessional, because then that eased over, because I don't want people coming out saying all kinds of, well, that's racist. All that foolishness people be saying. Lana wanted to lip sync, but they would have been crazy to save her over a front runner. Exactly. And that's why I was like, at the end of the day, it was what she was saved because of politics. It had nothing to do with whether or not she actually won the lip sync. It was politics. And people need to understand that it's about politics at the end of the day. And Ru is looking at who actually has a chance of that I could see making it all the way to the end. And it's no shade. I like Lingerie. I like what she brought to the, as far as like the looks and everything. But just like Ariette, you got to bring more than just being a look queen. And who knows, maybe down the road, it'll be good to see how much Lana has grown post-show. Ariette got a lot of work cut out for her, because after what you wrote, with Breathgate and all that other stuff, you have a narrative that is going to be stuck with you for the rest of your life that you want to try to find a way to claw your way out of. Like, I feel like she is this, in so many ways, the way she came across and how she left out of the show. She is, and I like Jeremy, but she is this season's Fifi O'Hara in regards of how this perception will, even if you have evolved as a person outside the show, how that perception that you left on TV will haunt you for the rest of your life. I have a feeling a future All-Stars will be, well, we need that. Can we get mothers and daughters? Like, you actually have like in two separate teams, like you have mothers going against their daughters in challenges. I would love to see that. I really feel like they need to do more themes in regards to All-Stars. I don't know what the hell's going over there with these producers. Maybe they need to hire me over there at World of Wonder. I have a feeling the future All-Stars will be family duos. They can, And there's so many people over there who have kids that's a part of the show. the younger queens go on the show way too early and they are fame hungry. The oldest queens in the cast have yet to be eliminated. And that's what it is the fact that if you are seasoned, those are the ones who are going to last longer than a lot of these younger queens who just want to go on because y'all want the accolades and you want the social media followers and you want the big bookings. And that's cute or whatever, but you got to be able to stand out beyond the time that you want to show and how you can sustain that beyond your season of Drag Race. Because when season 18 come around, if you still not, the cream rising to the top, if you still not out here getting booked like Alaska, like Willem, like Naomi Smalls, who else? I mean, there's so many girls out here that's still working. Jan is working. Juju B's still working. We got Raja out here still working. Monet Exchange, Bob the Drag Queen. Like, these are people who have put in the work for years before they got on Drag Race. And these are girls that are still working, just to name a few. And y'all have to have like that thing that helps you stand out. I can see Anya getting into acting after the show is over. Look, if they decide to develop a SNL for real with drag queens, remember back then when they had that show on Logo that Coleman Domingo was part of? That's the Big Gay Sketch Show. I think Johnny McGovern was on that too. If they could find a way to develop that and then have like the homosexuals and the drag queens do something like that, if they do that, but I would like to see Anya Nerve getting into more acting. I'm assuming there's only 2 more competitive episodes left in the season. One for a reunion, lip sync Lollapalooza, and then the finale. Funny enough, I was watching the Lollapalooza, the lip sync SmackDown, Lollapalooza, whatever the hell they call it, for All Stars when Silky was beating every damn body. And then she did Barbie Girl. That performance is still iconic to this day. Some of the other performances was sloppy, but the Silky Nutmeg Ganache one where she did Barbie Girl because one of the queens was like, "Oh, I'm not going to come back." I think it was Akira. She was like, "Oh, I'm not going to come back and do the whole lip sync thing." So she got ready. She was going up there and do Barbie Girl where she had her side. One side was the man, one side was the woman. That shit was funny. It still stands out to this day. And her performing that was just an iconic episode. That's how it was like fresh on the brain where I remember that they did do the cunt monologues before. All right, now speaking of Drag Race, let's get into some more Drag Race news. And let's talk about this hate crime that had happened out in Vegas. So y'all know that RuPaul's Drag Race celebrated its 1,000th episode. I did not get to watch it yet on World of Wonder. I definitely have to check it out. But she the queens were all out there celebrating, their 1,000th show out in Vegas. Sidebar, one of the things I did not know about RuPaul, he actually had a Vegas residency at the Sahara Hotel in 1994. And it lasted about a couple of weeks. And, I think it bombed because back in the 90s, people wasn't ready for drag like the way they are now. And what I didn't also know is that Jamal Sims was actually one of the dancers that was a part of RuPaul's Vegas residency. And look how far he's come. Now he's the creative director over at, for the Vegas shows. And that's 30 years in the making. So how full circle we have come in regards of all of this. So apparently there was a hate crime that had happened, according to Susie Toot, when she was on the red carpet. And she spoke to, I think it was for the RuPaul Drag Race Live red carpet at the Flamingo and MTV. While I was there, Ricky Cornish was actually on the red carpet interviewing the queens who were there at it. And then Susie Toot actually revealed this tea. So we have that clip. We're going to go right to it. We're going to play it, and then we're going to talk. Please hold.
And you got hate crimes here. Let's talk about that.
Get hate crime.
Like, what the hell?
Susie 2 can't catch a break. So we were taking pictures in front of the in front of the Las Vegas sign. It might as well be the Drag Race sign. In front of the Las Vegas sign. And we had to cut everybody because we're famous and we have things to do. And as we were taking pictures, someone went, boo, boo. And they said, not in front of the children. And so Anya and Lana went right up to them and said, and what did you say? Mm-hmm. It was really good.
And thank God. That's what we need right now. Seriously.
Absolutely. Speak up. Speak up when something fucked up's going on.
Well, child, shout out to James Mansfield. Did y'all see her behind her? Who was looking at her nails like, okay, sis, would you hurry the hell up? Now, in regards to y'all calling that a hate crime, I don't know if we can call it a hate crime. Now, a hate crime would be something or another of somebody putting paws on you, or somebody throwing a drink at you and screaming the F word. That I would consider a hate crime, but I guess maybe there's levels to it, or was Susie being a little dramatic? Because, and this is the picture that they, where they were filming this out in Vegas, in case y'all need a little reminder of, they were filming this out in Vegas. And I guess during this time, this is when somebody went in through shade. But then Lana basically, I don't know if he said that part. I don't know if Susie said this part, but Lana basically got her on social media, on Twitter, and basically said, and I do it again, talk ish, get hit, especially when it comes to people talking bad about my sisters. So, unfortunately, we're in a time where, while we are accepted in a lot of other places and drag has come a long way and drag has come into the mainstream, we still have a long way to go in regards of, I don't want to say tolerance, because I don't want people to tolerate me. I want respect. So I was like, you may not agree with how I live my life. You may not agree that I do drag. You may not agree that I'm a homosexual, but mind your business. If you see something out there in the street that you don't agree with, go, drive on by, walk on by. In the words of Dionne Warwick, walk on by. Mind your business. Mind your business, bitch. In the words of Britney Spears. Or if you see something on social media, scroll on by. So your opinion, your negativity is neither desired nor required. So if these girls are out here minding their business, living their best life and making their coins, what the hell has it got to do with you? And I'm so sick and tired of people always using the kids. What about the kids? Fuck your kids, in the words of Lil Nas X. Why am I referencing so many people today? It was like, yo, kids, ain't nobody thinking about your damn kids. If you raise your kids to be respectful human beings, we didn't have to worry about the negativity and all this other stuff. And another thing too, being a homosexual is not contagious. Doing drag is not contagious. These people out here, this is their job. This is their livelihood. This is their career. And if you end up having a sissy for a child, maybe you need to love them unconditionally and support them instead of hating on them. Because what's going to happen is they're going to end up homeless. They're going to end up somewhere else getting the love that a parent should be giving them. Kids don't ask to be born in this world. They didn't ask to be brought into this world. You decided to have these kids. So respect your children, love on your children, and stop always trying to use kids as a damn human shield when something out here makes you uncomfortable. That's all. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards to Susie 2 revealing that the Drag Race girls were harassed while they were doing promo out in Vegas for the RuPaul's Drag Race Live event? So whatever your thoughts are on that matter, let me know in the comments down below. Recent Violence Council explained that after 9/11, Ru fell from grace and America became much more conservative during Bush America. Yeah. I mean, Ru even explains how a lot of times things have changed in regards of like post 9/11 and a lot of like people's attitudes. And Ru even said this because I don't remember where I saw it, but there was a clip that I saw, I think it was on YouTube, and Ru was explaining, he was doing In Bed with Joan, and he was talking to her. He was like, because she was talking about how like things have changed and people are more accepting of drag and gays and all this other stuff. He said he always looks at it as that it ebbs and flows. Like he's been in this business for over 40 years. So we totally understand. Well, now he has, but he totally understands like it's always going to ebb and flow and it's going to happen yet again. So, and I feel like we're in that time now that it's going to go back to the way things are before. And that, and in those darkest of times is when we have to stand up and fight against our common enemy. We can't sit out here and just allow these people to just spew their hate and their vitriol and we just sit around and take it. We're going to fight back. I'll be ready. Nuck if you buck, bitch. Like, if you're going to try to come at me with some shit, be ready to nuck and buck because I don't back down from no damn body. Don't nobody scare me out in these streets. So I totally understand that with the whole Bush situation. And then also New York City changed drastically too. It was like after 9/11, you know, New York was in a place of like, you know, it was a little rough. I mean, I was too young to even remember all that, but I remember seeing a documentary, I think it was on HBO Max, where they were talking about like the stroll. I think it was the stroll. That's what I was watching. So the stroll, they were talking about the whole stroll down on 14th Street by the meatpacking district, and how all the hookers and stuff that was down there, the lady boys and the regular gender women. So they was all down there, you know, sucking and fucking and doing all kinds of stuff and hooking and doing all the things that they do to get their money. And how during 9/11 and also in the internet era, how a lot of that changed. And how people, you know, so there was a lot of that going on. So there was a shift where people just kind of slithered back into conservatism. And I do feel like it does ebb and flow. And it's funny that people who call gay and trans people groomers are usually, hello. Because then we just hear a story like somebody who was out here, like a lot of these people that sit out here and put all these orders in place about how gays are perverts and drag queens or this, that, and the other, and trans people are, you know, trying to do things to your kids. Turns out a lot of these people that spewing all this hatred and vitriol are out here getting caught with underage kids and sending kids inappropriate photos and things. I always feel for kids when they get exposed to stuff like that. So you gotta watch it out here in these streets and what your kids are being subjected to. He said, but it's much worse now with Trump in office. This is from an outsider perspective, but it feels like after 9/11, LA became the new NYC and became the epicenter of America. Could be. New York doesn't really have that energy and vibe that it used to. I used to love New York back when it was like, it did feel like it was a sense of freedom. It wasn't so expensive to live here. The club scene was popping. It wasn't until we got like Giuliani and all them up in here that it just like destroyed this damn state or city. So, but then again, in LA, they got Gavin Newsom. So that mess. All right, y'all. So now let's get to our final topic. And let's talk about Ms. Lala Ree, who we did a story on them a couple of months ago, where they said they was leaving drag. Now, after a short, brief, what you want to call it, hiatus, Lala Ree says she's coming back to the drag scene. So Lala Ree, who was crowned Miss Congeniality on RuPaul's Drag Race Season 13 and Queen of the Fame Games of All-Stars 8, is officially returning to drag and opened up about the reasons behind her decision to unretire from the art form. After sharing a few cryptic posts on social media suggesting that a drag comeback was potentially in the works, the iconic Drag Race fan favorite now confirmed that she is indeed bringing back the Lala Ree experience in full force. Saying, I'm dusting the heels off and returning back to the stage. This is what she told Out. After a period of rest and reflection, I decided my heart is the most full when I'm performing in drag, surrounded by the love and energy of the community that has always lifted me up. I see it as a sense of revival, restoring life back into my drag and awakening it with new energy. She adds, also due to the current political climate, we need joy now more than ever. One thing that my drag has always brought. Now, Lala has been called the ultimate homegirl of the Drag Race franchise for years now. In season 13 of All Stars 8, she was fan favorite queen in the lip syncs, challenges, confessionals, runways, performances, and beyond. And even her lowest points on the show, like a fashion fumble in the bag ball. Oh yeah, don't even remind us about that. But she basically just had on a corset and glued a bunch of damn gift bags to her body. That was a mess. Spawning thousands of viral memes across the Drag Race queendom. Now, in November of last year, this is what I was saying, like, yeah, it's been a couple of months. So it's November. So like 4 months she took off, where she basically announced that she's leaving drag and stepping away from the art to pursue other creative endeavors. But here's the thing. When I'm looking at it, I always feel like maybe that needs to be a thing with a lot of performers, whether you're in drag or whatever. Just step away. It's kind of like, with Dan Benson, remember him? Who was in Wizards of Waverly Place, and then he started doing adult stuff online with the OF. he was like, "Oh, I might just give it up and then go get a regular job." I'm like, "Good luck, sir, because with all that out there, ain't nobody hiring you." Especially the way they look down on sex workers. So he took a brief break and he was like, "Oh, I was just kidding. Like, I just needed a moment." And I feel like it's the same way with drag. When you're doing an art form that requires a lot of energy and time and sacrifice and stuff, a lot of times you need to be like, you know what? I need a moment away from the spotlight. I need to take time to be one with myself and reflect and take a moment away from the thing and then come back. And I feel like that's what Lala Ree needed to do in this moment in time. So in so many ways, I'm glad you reconsidered. I know you were trying to try out different things and all this other stuff. And, we always hit that crossroad in our lives where it's like, I need a moment. I need to kind of like take time away and all this other stuff. And then I'll come back and I'll do the thing that I need to do. And I'm glad that she decided to take a moment and reflect. And now 4 months later, she's coming back to the world of drag. So we love to have you back, sis, and welcome back. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards to Lala Ree saying that she is coming back to doing drag as a profession yet again? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Is it Emma? You said it's the fact that people aren't fighting is scary, but Gen Z aren't even fighting. That's like, it's not my battle in my neighborhood. The people my age are just waiting for summer. Why do we hate winter? Because it's cold. I watched Lala on Raven Simone. Was that recent? We need a gay community now, but because it was safe, we broke it off. And then also there's, constituents where all y'all care about is, those donations, like the GLADs and the HRCs and all that other stuff. They care more about appeasing their donors than actually getting out here and fighting this good fight for these people. I was just thinking about Lala the other day. Glad she's coming back, and I hope we see her in a. Oh, I was like, what's that? Versus the World? It took me a second. Madonna did an interview with People Magazine on raising her youngest two daughters for People Magazine. Okay, I'll check it. Is it for Raising Malawi? Because I know she's been very much talking about, very adamant about that recently. My bestie says celebrities never actually retire. They always come back. Of course they don't. What I've always said is people with jobs retire, not people with careers. If you have a career and you love what you do, then you're always going to do it. It's the same thing like when they always talk about Madonna, speaking of which, why don't you retire? Why don't you? Because she's an artist. Art people who are creative, we don't retire. It's the same thing like with Kyle Kalinske, shout out to him. He's like, he did an episode of Secular Talk. Mind you, he's on vacation. And he said this. He's like, I'm on vacation, but I got to come in. I got to say stuff. I've said this. I am such my father's son because my father's the same way. He's retired now. And he's been retired since like December of last year. But even when you take vacations, you working. I feel the same way. I try to take vacations. Even if I am on vacation, I'm bringing my laptop, I'm bringing all my gear, my ring lights, I'm bringing my mic, I'm bringing all that stuff. I have to work. It was like when I took time out and I went to my friend's house for a week. I brought all my equipment with me. And I didn't have the ring light thing, so there was a whole emergency thing. My friend was cool enough where he actually ordered one online via Amazon, and we worked it out that way, and I was able to do the show. But yeah, it was like, when I'm vacationing, I'm supposed to be vacationing. I can't do it. It's like, this is my fun. It's like, I'll work, but I'm gonna have my moments of fun. But when it comes down to it, it's like when stuff comes out, I have to be on it. It's hard, but when it's in your bones, when it's in your blood, and it's like you have to be creative, you can't just walk away from it. Oh, you say it was on last month. I'll see if I can check that one out. Random question. Any thoughts on the All-Star season being filmed this summer, possibly all winners too? It's not a rumor or anything, but would you like the idea of doing another one so soon? Wait, so you're saying that when you say on this All-Star season being filmed this summer, I don't know. This feels weird. I need to know what this whole concept is, because if y'all filmed half of it last season and then you're gonna have them film it, you're gonna film it again in the summer. I need to understand what this concept is. so that way, because I'm just relatively confused. I can't wrap my head around what is this concept they're trying to do. Like they filmed it in like 3 different things, and then they got the groups. I mean, the final 9 or whatever coming together, and then I need to understand this. But if they do an all winners too, I'd be here for it. Who'd be willing to do it? Because there's been so many talks about. Oh, you talking all? Oh, so you're saying that All Stars 10, but they're doing an All Stars 11. I kind of wish that they would just come up with a different idea with drag and kind of space out the All Star seasons. The All Star season, they're coming too quick. There's too many of them. But if they're filming All Stars 11, then maybe they'll have it come out in 2026. I don't know. But I have to say that because look, Ru talking about she doing All Stars 11 and she doing season 18. So they're trying to get all this filmed. But look, when you're doing a reality show, it's like a month. It only takes like what, a month to film all of that. And Ru like money, so I say bring it on. Pete Hexer denied the conversation happened. Yeah, okay. That's a damn lie. All they do is lie. But as long as we got people in place that's willing to, like Secular Talk and Sabby Sabs and Midas Touch and so many others that are willing to expose these liars for what they are, then, which, Midas Touch is beating Joe Rogan in the ratings. So as long as you have these places that are putting things out there, then you know what? The information will get where it needs to go. So, all right, y'all. So we're at the end of today's show. And I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I'll be on tomorrow with a brand new episode of the show. Definitely, if you have not already, hit that like button and that subscribe button. And also smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank you all for hanging out with me in the comments. I will be putting up timestamps throughout the show so that way you can just get right to the topics instead of getting caught up in the banter. Love you all, as I said, for watching. And until next time, ciao, darlings.